too much, get ready. We not for the kids, it's all Kelly. We reppin' the culture before belly. On the lower side since they rock Pelly. Kev in the spot, straight chillin'. Zach already stepped in the building. Dre always ready and willing. Oldheadz of the podcast, straight killin'. Top billin'. Straight dealin'. Cold chillin', what's missing in CHH, we feelin'. Oldheadz Podcast.
What's up, everybody? You listen to the Oldhead Podcast where the legends get their airplay. We got a special guest in the building this morning.
I ain't an old head though.
Or this evening, or this afternoon, or whenever you listen to this piece. Man, I met this dude back in Tuskegee University.
Come on, somebody.
He don't really know when we met. I remember when we met, but I never will forget. I was in a laundromat off campus. I was sitting in a row of chairs by myself, minding my business, reading my Bible. This dude walked in with his girlfriend at the time.
I knew this.
I'm not gonna call her name. I ain't gonna call.
I knew she was gonna be in the equation. I was like, I was busting me with an old girl. Go ahead.
He walked in. He's putting his drawers loading his drawers up into the washing machine, and he saw me read my Bible, and he said, "So I see you in that word, huh?" And I was like, "Always." I was like, "What's your name, man?" He said, "My name is Misho." I said, "A Misho, man, that's an odd name." I thought that to myself, and we introduced ourselves to one another. A couple of times after that, I saw him hanging around some people who would eventually become mutual friends of the both of us. I was able to watch an amazing transformation in his life during that time. I saw him moving out of a spot where he wasn't supposed to be living. He was shacking up with somebody. So he decided that the Lord didn't want him shacking.
Come on, somebody. Preach that thing.
And so he ended up moving with one of my best friends, one of my childhood friends, Big Rory, at the time.
Come on, somebody.
A lot happened in between that time, but I just want to welcome Sho Baraka to the Oldheadz Podcast.
Hey, come on, man. That's the best introduction ever.
All right, man, so...
Got me thinking back in the day.
So you don't remember that?
I do not. But I definitely believe it happened, though. But I don't remember. And when you said... laundromat, I was like, he's gonna mention old girl. I know it, because that's the only reason why I was at a laundromat. It's probably with her. And then reading the Bible. You know what's funny? I met a lot of people. I met you, I met Eddie, and I met another someone else in a similar circumstance where someone was either reading the Bible or they were saying something and I was passing by. And it was really my sense of being like to be liked, because I wasn't really like living the life at all. But anytime I was around or I saw someone like showing some sort of sense of spirituality, I wanted to like feel like I just wanted them to be known by that person. And then eventually the Lord kind of, it's like, all right, you gonna stop playing games. Yeah. You gonna really come to know me. And so, quick story. Eddie was in we were in a psych class together. And the first day of school, this is my sophomore year. So first day of school, he gets up and the professor's like, I want everybody to introduce themselves, say a little bit about him. Everybody's saying a bunch of funny, shallow stuff. Eddie get up and preach a sermon. Brother, like, my name Eddie Chambers. Praise Jesus Christ for saving my life. Blah blah blah. And all the part of the reason why I was like, I gotta know how this brother work is because all the girls were like, amen, amen. And I was like, hold up, I need a little bit of that money. So afterwards, I walked up to her, I was like, hey man, I'm trying to do this Jesus thing too. Like, man, blah blah blah. And Eddie was the wrong person to say that to at the time. That brother invited me to the campus outreach. Yeah. And that was the first time I went to the campus outreach.
Really?
Yep.
A to C.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. That's what's up, man. All right.
Oh gosh. So anyway, man, let's talk about these old head podcast stuff.
Yeah, man. So
am I old head? First question, am I a old head? Because I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle, or I'm either like the younger of the old heads.
I think you are the younger of the old heads. Okay. The reason why I say that, we don't have you're not on the show because we consider you an old head as far as your music is concerned. Okay. Right? So we've been dabbling in between, and I would say that because we've been sticking between like the 80s and the late 90s. Oh, okay. And so shows first CD didn't come out until when? 2003? 2007?
Yeah, 2007.
Oh, yeah. So we hadn't even touched that yet.
Okay.
But the reason why you're here is because, first of all, you are an artist. You dope. I've been knowing you for a long time. But what's important to me right now is to figure out who your influences were.
Yeah.
And I do want to get into what you're doing now, because you would be considered a dude who has music that's not only timeless, but I think it's just relevant, you know, to the culture, period, if we want to use that word. Sometimes the Oldhead Dre don't like when people use the word relevant, because when certain people use it means certain things. But I just kind of want to get into that, man. I want to tell another quick story.
All right.
Just real quick. We're in Tompkins Hall. That's the cab at Tuskegee University. At this time, I know Sho, and at this time, it's no. And I don't even think you know you did this, bruh.
Okay.
But it's not a secret to everyone who knew you who your favorite rap group was at the time. Your favorite Christian rap group was at the time. And so I'm trying to skip. You know, I don't know what I was doing that day. For some reason, I needed to skip. I needed to get in line. I needed to get my food and eat and get up out that piece. I asked Sho if I could skip in line. And this joker told me he would not allow me to skip unless I recited a cross movement line. You know what I'm saying? and so I recited the line from Heaven's Mentality, Blood Spiller.
With the cross movement, which is an alliance of born-again believers in Jesus Christ that are trusting God by His grace to become agents through whom He's going to advertise salvation and also communicate His purpose for all of humanity.
It's the thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller, but I praise God for the blood spiller. It's the thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller, but I praise God for the blood spiller. I step back to take a chill pill just to let the thrills build back up, and now I have to say that I still feel goo-goo about the one the crew brings to you. Died to woo you and bring you back like part 2. Ooh, you know his name is the same as Jesus. Every knee will bow, demon, man, woman, child. Ow. Who is it that brings the blizzard, tames the lizard, makes the greens and the gizzards? If it's your God, let him speak. I'll hide, let him seek. I'll jump, let him leap. Let him swim the deep. Did his blood leak? Does your God love me? Yeah. Will he still propose even though I get ugly? Can he turn trouble to ease? Can his love make me weak in the knees like SWV? If he can take the sins of the whole world, swallow him, experience death, then resurrect, then I'll follow him. Yeah. But if he can't, then I'm staying with my camp. We a pack of theocrats, getting amped cause our God is champ. Yahweh the highway to heaven's doormat, transliterated L-O-R-D, all caps, salvation for the creation he offers. Yeah. No lie that's fly like a source of the slaughter and torture of the lamb, freeze and releases non-believers who put their faith in Jesus. It's the thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller, but I praise God for the blood spiller. For real. It's the thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller, but I praise God for the blood spiller. For real. As I take flight in Christ, watch my height as I get lifted. Not off the herb, but the word mad gifted. Is the man of God that has his whole focus shifted toward the God who made the earth and all that comes with it. All of the specifics, the tidbits, the what is it, the all forget it, the whole thing, who did this? You say Jesus, I don't get it. I swear I see nothing but the prosperity of the wicked. Let's kick it so you can see the end that's predicted when both sin and sinful men get evicted. I'm with it, but things look a mess, I'll admit this, and sin keeps bringing the stress. I've been witness, but God the Son is going to rise like a biscuit. Come back and fix it. I've got the script, it's inscripted in scripture, but most will miss it. To them it's foolish, but I'ma school this district. It's the thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller, but I praise God for the blood spiller. Think hard, visualize the ill mob, bombarding, fatally scarring the Son of God. Thug slugging, the blood flooding. What in God's name made him take the pain? Much love in his heart for this world that he sparked with the verbal. The same man he made beat him down till he was purple, and all could see his veins and arteries, all for you and all for me. The Savior died, this is a call to be a recipient of his life, cause if he didn't die, we all were going to fry. And since we in this world, dressed in this flesh that he formed, it's only right that we get
without Christ on. Yeah, I'm loving this, chilling under God rule government. Plus I'm in love with the new blood covenant. No blood, no forgiveness, not a smidgen. Without the blood, kid, you only got religion. So marches to DC are no more than long trips. Prayer mail sent to heaven with the wrong zip. Why else do you think he let divine blood drip? Simple, we owe the sin debt and plus tip. And there is going to be a payday. The good times will be behind some, like the reruns of JJ. The blood of the Lamb, Jesus, is mandatory. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory. In Manila, Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller. But I praise God for the blood spiller. It's the Thriller in Manila. Jesus Christ versus every man's killer. Sin and death's got the whole world getting iller. But I praise God for the blood spiller. For real, I like the way it's going down. Coming from the higher ground. I like the way it's going down. Jesus Christ wear the crown. I like the way it's going down. Coming from the higher ground. I like the way it's going down. King Jesus Christ wear the crown. Jesus came, Jesus died. A lot of people claim to be religious teachers, but they're no more than killers. But only one was a blood spiller. One blood spiller.
and he let me in the line. I recited the hook, the blood spiller hook.
There we go, bro. It's a Thriller in Manila.
Right.
Jesus Christ versus every man's killer.
Every man's killer.
Come on. Hey.
All right. So tell us how you got into music. Well, I do want to know how you got into the music.
Yeah.
But before you get into that, just tell us, as a believer in Jesus Christ, what influenced you to do the music that you would eventually go on to do back then?
So that was two questions. What question you want me to answer first? How I got into music, and then eventually what the influences.
Well, let's talk about the influences first. And keep in mind, right now we're recording at Impact in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's part of the story, but it's just very important to mention that we are now at Impact. So I just kind of want you to talk about who your influences were and how you ended up getting into music.
Yeah, so forgive me. You'll help me. I need John Norman Josephus here because he would remind me of all the names of the artists. But you'll probably help me as well. But my brother actually was the first. So my brother became a Christian some years before I did. He's older than me. And he's the one who invited me to Impact Conference. But years before, maybe a year before I came to Impact, the place which I became a Christian, he used to try to give me these CDs. Because he knew I loved hip hop, he knew I rapped, and he knew that hip hop, not only as a music and a form of music and expression, had a great influence on me, but he knew the culture was something that was like quite important to me. And so he was like, well, if anything's gonna really get him to see the beauty of Jesus, it's gonna be people within the culture, right? And so he would hand me these CDs, and the first two CDs I remember him ever giving me was Heaven's Mentality, Cross Movement, and Factors of the Seven by Grimm.
Embrace this wisdom and witness my construction on beat. Spiritualism verbalized containing evil's defeat. Other MC's intentions being exposed in time. Abominations when they life ain't like they say in they rhymes. If it is total depiction, opposition shows face. Mentally raping minds of people living in desperate states. Keep it tight, the things you claim in videos and on tape. Where I'm from, fronting your stack, you find a jack taking place. Verbal disgrace to a nation of intelligent race. Fertilization to theory, stereotypes create. Therefore, when I employ my interjections, wordplay. Play rough like Project Case with new neighbors who got more stuff. Riches won't help you then when judgment day's in place. Only life for sacrifice attains salvation by grace. My words go beyond the outer boundaries of flesh. These recitals be vital to anatomic fortresses. In the 615, we strive to be blameless with benevolence as evidence. My claim to fame is righteousness.
Don't stop, don't stop, and it won't stop, won't stop, cause it don't. My writing is like a party inviting to see quite clearly proper lighting. Took it to the eyes, UFO sightings, the classified, beat the glassy eye. Writing is like a party inviting to see quite clearly proper lighting. Took it to the eyes, UFO sightings, the classified, beat
I come in like visitors displaying my creations. RSVP invitations to destinations. Delegated to educate men about salvation with installations of devastation. Arouse more emotions than Tony when touching grammar. My vocal stamina is like the gift of strength to Samson. The powers divine intertwined and licks manifested. I'm double-breasted with the plate of righteousness, sin confessed. With shields of faithfulness, block distractions. Capture captions, illustrated, I've demonstrated. Player hated, though I told you before. My style was complicated, undebated, and underrated.
Bone, real smooth, coming off the head like wigs. Big are my crowd, loud to vocals. Intermingling with pockets, jingling, singling out opponents. A circle forming cipher, now I'm on it. In the mix like vanilla extract. A hip-hop relief like X-Lax. Tip-top condition, probably top-notch. Bounce around the beat like hopscotch. A real enhancer, a lot done changed since DC Dancer.
My writing is like a party invite to see quite clearly proper light. Tricky to the eyes, UFO sightings, they're classified in their glassy eye. Right is like a party invite to see quite clearly proper light. Tricky to the eyes, UFO sightings, they're classified in their glassy eye.
Rewinding my tape, analyzing the moves I make from the pocket. Use my blast from past to make your future rocket. Calm your jets, buddy. Shimini Christmas, handcuff my ears while restraining all my listeners on the back half of Backdraft. Catching wind burns and then turn 180 degrees. And like lady MCs with a high-pitched voice, denounce your thieving, catching, chasing, and before you can consider leaving. Even out vomit, brown bottle rockets, pink comets, Snapple and apple cores, all from swallowing what's not yours. Beat biter, dope style taker. I distort your body like a New York City breaker. Look at me, I did this to you. Tired of being slighted by my copyrighted. Adrenaline hits infinity and beyond.
My right is like a party invite to see quite clearly proper light. Tricky to the eyes, UFO sightings, they're classified in their glassy eye. Right is like a party invite to see quite clearly proper light. Tricky to the eyes, UFO sightings, they're classified in their glassy eye. Right is like a party invite to see quite clearly proper light. Tricky to the eyes, UFO sightings, they're classified in their glassy eye.
Yeah.
And
So that was in it. That had to be in the 90s.
yeah, it was like 98. That was 97. He gave me them CDs in 90. He gave me those 2 CDs in 97. And I honestly, I probably didn't listen to him until about, no, he gave it to me in 98. Because I didn't listen to him until, you know what, the year doesn't matter. I know I got him around, and I didn't listen to him probably until like a year after he gave them to me.
Okay.
Because I wasn't like really, I wasn't thinking about Jesus. I wasn't thinking about even trying to like please Jesus. I was an admirer of my brother. I loved him as an individual. He was an athlete. He was, you know, he carried himself well. He excelled in everything he tried to do. So he was the kind of person I was trying to be like, and without the religion.
Right.
And so if he was giving me something, you know, out of respect and honor to him, I was like, all right, I'll take it. And so I remember getting to college, and every now and then I would pop it in and listen, and I'd be like, I can vibe with it, but I don't really know what they talking about. Like, you know, to some degree, it's like the grits honestly were a little bit more palatable for me because they weren't very theologically depth.
Okay.
Like they didn't really. Yeah. And their music was a little more existential in the sense that it was just wasn't really. And I'm not trying to say it was empty, but what I'm saying is like they were more of. Like hip hop has a tendency to rap about a whole bunch of stuff, but nothing at the same time. And I felt like the grits kind of was more ambiguous with their message. And so, but if I'm honest with you, I didn't like their style as much as I liked the cross movement style.
Right.
And so, I think that's the reason why when I became a Christian, the cross movement had a greater influence on me because one, I already liked their style because I was. Even though I was from California, I was more of a boom bap, East Coast kind of dude. Like I remember literally almost getting killed at a house party because like after Pac died, I went to a party and I told this dude like, man, do you have to play Pac all day?
What? No, you did not.
Yo, bro. I literally almost got shot that night. Like no joke. Like I'm not trying to be funny. The dude, I didn't know the cat. And he was like, yo, bro, don't you ever tell me to not play Pac in my house. And I straightened up real quick. Sobered up, straightened up, everything. And so, because I was a Biggie dude. I was a Tribe guy. I was Wu-Tang. And so for me, when I heard the Cross Movement, I was like, even their own little mantra is like, what's this new thing coming through like a Christian Wu-Tang? You know what I mean?
My crew hangs loosely and we're tied like a shoestring.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I was just like, yo, once I was able to grasp what they were talking about,
right,
I just couldn't stop listening to them.
Right,
I was just, that was me, and that was it. And I would try to get other friends who like I was either living with or dudes I was rocking with, and they were like, yeah, this is cool. I mean, son, that Jesus rap, I really can't get with it. So at that point, my goal was just to try to consume as much Christian stuff, because I had become that non-secular Christian dude. Like I wouldn't listen to no secular music. So I gave it all up. So I missed like Eminem's rise, the Blueprint album, Kanye's kind of like first.
I'm glad you're saying that, man, because I feel like, I'm from the South, of course. Yeah. So I missed a lot of I miss Wayne.
Yeah.
I miss that whole Cash Money era.
Yep. I did too.
You know what I'm saying? I miss all of that.
Yeah. That's why I like, it's funny because now that I listen to secular music, even back when Wayne started really, 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 really popping.
Right.
I didn't really understand the fascination with him. And part of it was because we missed it. Like we didn't listen to secular music during that time. The only person I will say I kind of snuck and listened to every now was Kanye.
Okay.
When Kanye started, when he dropped this College Dropout album, I remember going to the store, and that was the first secular album I bought. And I remember taking it back because I felt so guilty listening to it, bro.
Really?
I'm a grown man, bro. I'm a grown man taking back a CD. But they wouldn't take it back, though. So it was funny because I'm in the store, and they wouldn't take it back. And I see a homeboy who I was evangelizing to on campus. And he was like, yo, what you doing? I was like, oh, man, I'm trying to take this Kanye album back. And he's like, you not really feeling it? Yeah. I was like, nah, it's just a Christian thing. He was like, yo, I'll take it. So I ended up giving it to him.
Yeah. I know he was happy.
Oh, he was very happy. So anyway, but other than that, man, and I didn't start listening to secular music again until like 2006, 2007.
Okay.
So anyway.
Around the time your CD came out.
Yeah, because I needed to. Anyway, we get to that later.
Hey, but listen, do you remember what I was listening to back then?
Oh yeah, it's great. You was Grapetree all day, bro. And what's the Coos from Portland, Oregon?
Crow, Brothers Grimm.
Yeah. Brothers Grimm. They was the realest, bro. Yeah. Them jokers was the realest.
Yeah.
My brothers perish, I cherish these lost sons of God, but they embarrass me. These Pharisees, quick to point the finger, but my fingers upon the pulse. No time for the coming fault. Jesus came to seek and save the lost, and he paid the cost with Pentecostal and angels get tossed when I bleed the blood. And I bleed the cross, can't bakers got the need no rocks and wood. They got them plastic baggies, ain't when yo the baking soda. But here's a warning, son of the morning, think he's taking over. I pray to Jehovah to keep me strong up in the States. Put on my war paint and I start my war dance. More glass safety from the windows of they churches, and look down upon they brothers cause they make them nervous. Forget about the door surface to spread the living word. I pray that brothers and sisters will be touched when I'm hurt. Just like a mockingbird, they mock what they don't understand. The fools die for lack of wisdom, come again.
Modern judge, done judge enough. I just tell them like it is and pray that it don't go under. Who a modern judge, done judge enough. A brother wanna see him set free, can't stand to see him suffer now. Who a modern judge, done judge enough. I just tell them like it is and pray that it don't go under. Who a modern judge, done judge enough. A brother wanna see him set free, can't stand to see him suffer now.
I can barely see when Pharisees obstruct my line of vision. Had to make conscious decision to look way past the religion. Focus on the spiritual, make lyrical incisions. And it's gonna take a miracle, but it's all up in position. I'm on a mission to stop tradition with my composition. This world got them stressing and guessing, but I got them listening. They try to break me down, but I stay profound. When it comes to this, I don't play around, and I got to stand my ground. Talking about suffering, here we go. Cause I'm sending that word straight to your stereo. Every day I'm giving Jesus all the thanks he died. Still I haven't arrived, trying to live my life sanctified.
Sanctified is judge, then judge another. I just tell it like it is and pray that it don't go under. Who am I to judge? To judge another brother. Wanna see him set free, can't stand to see him suffer now. Who am I to judge? Then judge another. I just tell it like it is and pray that it don't go under. Who am I to judge? To judge another brother. Wanna see him set free, can't stand to see him suffer now. Who am I to judge? Then judge another. I just tell it like it is and pray that it don't go under. Who am I to judge? To judge another brother. Wanna see him set free, can't stand to see him suffer now.
My soul is eternal, not going to the fiery inferno. Cause what does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? Don't you know that the world will be consumed by fire, and that we've been created to fulfill the Lord's desire? The Messiah was sent for the remission. Refuse to listen and you're missing your blessings. While you're stressing over possessions that's material, don't you know the spiritual is everlasting? That's why I rap with passion, not for the weeping and gnashing, but for the hope of the kingdom. Cause this world is suffering, the lambs are being led to the slaughter, but the Father's loving them. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they doing. Pursuing the ruin and fortune and fame, but the scorching flames shall devour the earth. Time for the rebirth. Store your treasures by the measures up into infinity. I've been called, won't turn my back up on this ministry. The water cleanses, but the fire purifies. You reap what you sow, wages of sin, and you're sure to die. And you're sure to die. You're sure to die.
So that was your thing. I couldn't stand them, but that was your thing, and I respected it. I will say, Brothers Grimm and New Wine, were the best of that little. I can tolerate New Wine and Brothers Grimm. I could. Let me stop saying it because I'm everybody. I forget. I know some of these folks. So these folks actually may listen to this podcast.
Oh man!
But I will say, I wasn't really, being that I was from the West Coast and loving East Coast music.
Yeah.
The only Southern rap I liked was Outkast, and so if you didn't really sound like Outkast, I wasn't really big on rap a lot. So that kind of Grape Tree.
What? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I
mean, you know.
Okay. But Scarface is a lyric.
Oh yeah, my bad. Scarface. I mess with Scarface a little bit.
But now Willie D and Bushwick Bill.
Bushwick Bill. God bless that brother became a Christian, right? He loved some Jesus, so God bless it.
Yeah.
So but I was saying, like, so I was trying to get my hand on a whole lot of stuff. So I remember listening to, like, I would go to, like, the family bookstores. And what they would have it like these charts, and like, if you like this album, buy this dude. And I would just look on the back, and you remember Diamante at the time? So Diamante was the publishing company, I think, for like a lot of folks, cross movement at the time. So I would look on the back, and if they were published or distributed, better yet, distributed by Diamante, I would buy it because I would feel like it was more of an East Coast sound. So I was buying like Mark J.
Reminiscing when he listed age 18. Hug from proud dad said, son, make dreams. Remember who you are in Christ, he wiped your slate clean. Calling him on times of trouble, he's your day spring. Backhand to his face, blood on his canteen. He's awakened back to Iraq's sad scene. Taken hostage in the village of Hamadi. Dragged and beaten until his face looked like raw meat. Back in conscience, he thinks about his girl Constance and how she wanted marriage before this nonsense. He remembers her disapproval for signing up, but she said, I'll be right here, baby, when your time is up. Kick to the gut, waking up in the hut. Blindfold slips, he counts the men, 4, 5, 6. Saying, my God, they're setting up the tripod. Time is getting shorter. Here comes the camcorder. He recall Sunday mornings, devotions around the table. Him and his sister learning how the Lord is able. Aroma from the kitchen, mom's cooking got him sniffing, ready to pray so he could dig it. Digging his own grave, a soldier to a slave, coming to grips, today could be his last day. Wonder if the squad and sergeant are okay, hearing grenades and practice rounds of AKs. Back in the deep sleep, he thinks about Cheap Pete in boot camp. Would sell his mama's food stamps, had made him giggle just a little. 10K run, 0600 before grits hit the griddle. They put a poster behind him with some writings in Arabic. Position the lights, he couldn't handle it. In the corner facing east with a candle lit, a man prays over a sword, grabs and dangles it. He remembered like it's yesterday, blinded like with pepper spray. Pastor said, son, his grace is just a stone's throw away. He came face to face with his sinful state. Accepted Christ in his life, he's never been the same. They position his head, the buttons red on the camcord. They all pose, dropped him to his knees, can't stand for it. They gave a note to read and said it's mandatory. Denounce your God and you can live to tell the story. The joy of salvation at the age of 15, Spirit spoke in his heart. Recognize me as king, first verse he read. Choose this day whom you will serve. That's when he decided to join the army reserve. He then remembered the vow, he then remembered the bow. He remembers Roman 8 and 38 as a child. He looked dead in the camcord, said Jesus is Lord. Looked at all 6 men and said, pick up your sword, I'm ready.
I got a hold of Mark J. I got a hold of Remnant Militia.
Insects are all around us. They produce many sounds at many frequencies and volume levels. We are so accustomed to hearing insect sounds that we seldom listen to them.
Drastic first batter up to capture your imagination with a fourth dimensional graphic schematic on telepathic communication. Selected method undetected telepathic persuasion of all evacuation. Your defense stations been sabotaged. But Lieutenant Command, roll damn messianic president assassin at large. I'm blasting a barrage of vivid lyrics of all different speeds like a civic. Stick shift, my mind drifts in the spirit. God gifts not to receive but to give it. Won't say it lest I live it. Drunken dragon slayed then evicted from my premises. Can measure this with an unfocused star or mimic the stars of the nemesis, stopus, lyricist, locust, from the sky. And ever since my second birth, I've been transforming like a fly. Body parts start to fall off, only to replenish. When my guard starts to finish, so I defeat and diminish these possessed MCs. I told ya, soldiers never rest at ease.
Pressed on your gas and waste your few sons. Should've remembered the weak shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. 21 attack, I knocked it down to 7. And say practice for militia. Bullet like lyric hit ya and rip ya. Redefine Crayola or chalk like this kid on the cornstalk. I petrify wicked birds that wanna eat up the crop. Real hip hop, straight from God's soil. We burn it like vegetable oil and squeeze like snake oil. They gave us microphones cause we rap like tinfoil.
The ultimate fruit, the ultimate fruit.
Leaving spots below catacombs I emerge. Deacon prepared for what's about to occur. Fully nourished rhyme set that flash like a blur. The water is still so it's time for us to stir. Within the family we're sharpening our swords. Entering when negative get checked. Connected like skin to your pores expected. Every time we step in to blow down your doors. So what? You didn't think we could rock like this? This without the fist and chill with whiteness off the precipice. Never let it on the hill, born to thrill. Going worldwide, you do the Lord's will. It's the conscious one, the remnant representer. Militant mind, Yahweh is the epicenter. Bent to light pipes and blew up like dynamite. Fat MC is a status, don't test. Invasion from Celestia like I was a Damonite. Taking flight like I was a locust in the night. God got the back, no need for hindsight. Living by spirit, not by the might.
Behold, behold, the culmination of
break forth like summer roses in bloom. Empty tune forms my mental cocoon. I assume captivation by vocal trances. Unspoken words bash mental canvas. Forms expanses. Apply your learning to some forms quite toxic. Christ forms my optic. Check my logic. And knock you out like anesthesiologists. Taking notes to copy this. There ain't no stopping this. I'm dropping this mental strategy. Cause who's the next to be the casualty? Check my masterpiece. I release lines in locust form of born. It's the quiet before the storm. Do not conform to lukewarm tendencies. Enemies mean to apprehend me. The sons of intellect will never be duplicated, originated. Get to the vibe to read your arms straight out jaded.
Shadow of the locust, constantly keep focus. My whole style is magic, so here's the hocus pocus. Don't overdose it, the pose is too potent. The use of sharp phrases amazes MCs to gather round. Witness miracles in the underground till I retrench microphone make weak MCs drown. They try to apply forces from they whack high horses. I do new methods of meditation and creation through sensation. Just a soldier, that's my occupation. Who's the golden one? Shining like the sun. Getting ill and rocking microphones just for fun. I take off your to discover other ones. You clones, poison microphones, and then in my ear like dial tones. Time to set you straight like broken bones. I throw pebbles as you persist to throw stones. Imitations get sent back like Haitians for they premeditation.
Spiritually intoxicated, biblical doctrine context has my soul illuminated. The risen Messiah is anxiously awaited, anticipated by a nation before creation, predestinated to be hated by modern Pharisees who are mentally devastated. Philistine-minded corrupt administration in constant war against chosen Armageddon virtual fighters. Holy scripture, angelic ninja, rebel militia, minister, a called soldier on the front line of this World War III. Righteous army, divine military, receiving strategic battle modes for Trinity. Those foes who oppose Jehovah Rohi will be sentenced to the fiery penitentiary till infinity. Eternal catastrophe is a penalty for unrepentant, sin-scented troops of iniquity. Perpetrator of Mount Zion, pleading on to blasphemic icons. Present-day Babylon, like the post-Roman Empire to the government of Hong Kong.
When the empire strikes back, we attack on full force. Of the facts that the attack continue course like at that to wield the sword. In poetry we equal skill like samurais of an analyzed mission. Execute with no compromise, notarized by my commander-in-chief to exterminate the false beliefs and infiltrate the weak. Zero tolerance of fraudulent ministers of any man and once they cause against the remnant architects of family hammer, digital vandalists, original amphibious programmer. Do you have the stamina to outlast a soulless manzilla? And so follow the straight and narrow, don't fall for lies of pharaohs. Fuck the fiery arrow, shadow of the locust. Focus on the IMI, El Shaddai will glorify. Come on, don't let your soul run dry. Never full, stand bold and in control. As the winters get cold, we plan to fulfill what's been foretold with militant tactics. Biblical mathematics hitting your attic, squashing human philosophical static. Since Genesis, been doing battle with my arch nemesis, so I continue until from earth we make our exodus.
When they walked in, yo, it was like fire, man. It was like forming right on the ball of the mic, and it came intense, but it was new. It was, you know, it was something new, but from old things, like things that we know already, but just like in a different way, you know, like a connection that was new. It came from all of them, man. All of us, from like the last to the first, it just kept burning. It was like something that burns for a long time. I can't even think straight, man. It's like an army, and when they come in, they got heat. You know, like Holy Spirit embodied this teacher heat. When they move on, like the whole area,
it's crush reality. Cause it holds things like cavities, actually. Jump 360 or face the casualties. One remedy against the devil be. So messianically, dramatically, I'll drop the C. It's gross in hypocrisy, the act fantasy. No apology needed from false Christianity. Lane profane invades like scum in humanity. Brains numb, prolonged hits from the cyclone. Opposites spreads the word like tax from Krylon. That tracks Babylon, that burden the lost from the storm. 7 dimensions swarm strong. We shadow the locust to captivate your iris and drop your demonic focus. Notice the devil is hopeless. For this, he will pay dearly for confusing the earth for centuries, damaging crops and fruits from trees. Since Adam and Eve's, the plan has been deceived. So Loki God's willing to forgive. So I'm free to be captive for the Lord and never see my soul fall in a casket.
The ultimate fruit. The ultimate fruit. The ultimate fruit. Behold, the culmination of senses. The ultimate fruit. The ultimate fruit. The ultimate fruit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Corey ran Precise.
Yeah.
it was just, anybody who, and then my other favorite group during that time was New Breed. So, LC and Macho.
Okay.
And I remember it got so bad, right? So I remember emailing them, like fanning out, just like, yo, I love your little songs that y'all releasing. When y'all gonna do an album? And they would, somebody would hit me back like, oh man, thank you for the love, we're working on it. And then like a month later, I'd be like, yo, when's that album gonna come out? At one point, bro, I wish I could still find an email. Them jokers started yelling at me. It's like, bro, stop emailing us. Please leave us alone, bro.
Yeah.
Our album will, and when that
did it
mug
ever come out?
Yeah, it came out, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it, yeah.
Yo, I'm the master builder, and I'm causing you to feel the rhythm of life as I orchestrate and organize my people that's walking straight. They harmonize, it's evident through love in their eyes. They the reflection and spitting image of me, unless they walk separate and individually. In which case, the face of creation tell a story. Creatures to the sky give me glory. People can't ignore the way I make the thunder roar. Lightning flash, separate the sun, moon, and stars. Many still wonder about their purpose and cause. Wrote it in my book of rhymes, baby, infinite pause. I'm the amazing, never changing, ever remaining. Hold all things together, my words sustaining. Let there be no whack MCs, cause if you're clever, you would reverence and respect me. What's my name?
Arthur, finisher, Alpha and Omega, ain't no one greater.
What's my name?
Everlasting, mic mashing, King of Glory, number 4 me. What's my name?
Wisdom of the ages, just turn the pages. Y'all can't move the crowd and rock stages, consistent with the truth blazing.
Tell me, have you ever heard someone so amazing? How long will you simple ones love your simple ways? More than just wise, I hold the number of your days in the palm of my right hand and the mic in my left. I'm spitting life from the rooftop with every single breath. Still you choose to ignore, walk with your eyes to the floor. Gonna run into disaster, I'ma close my door. Should've listened to my teaching by the truth around your neck. I would've given you honor, wealth, favor, and respect. But the foolish hate correction, simpletons, no discipline. Who mocked arrogantly, about to reap the whirlwind. Been here from the beginning, help create the world you live in. Craftsman out inside, time and logic I override. Only to collide with the young and the dumb, who think that they know better and can battle wisdom. So I give them time to spit that dopest rhyme, but all I get is nonsense with a good punchline.
What's my name?
Arthur, finisher, Alpha and Omega, ain't no one greater.
What's my name?
Everlasting, mic mashing, King of Glory, number 4 me. What's my name?
Wisdom of the ages, just turn the pages. Y'all can't move the crowd and rock stages, consistent with the truth blazing.
Tell me, have you ever heard someone so amazing? I challenge the heart of every single man to come find me and understand who I am. Treasures untold will unfold from these lips. From no other woman could you get a sweeter kiss. Ignorance may be bliss, but understanding gives power. Train your eyes, see the thieves, the imposters and the cowards. Hold the crown of honor can give you riches that'll make you. Just cause I'm a lady, don't mean that I won't break you. Being wise in your own eyes brings pride that'll shake you. You must realize that wisdom reigns supreme. This Puerto Rican queen will rock you on stages and bring you to your knees while she keeps the truth blazing.
Yo, that ice for which you struggle so hard, I created it. I leave MCs devastated when I detonate bombs in my palm and don't flinch or blink. I become the ocean that you sink in, leave you thinking about ways to defeat or define me. But still, y'all step to me blind with an arrogance apparent in your rhyme bout. There ain't no time out, I just stop time, make you stop rhymes. Got you twisted cause I'm flipping your script line for line. Before you speak, now you realize just how weak your offense is. I find it offensive, man with content. What's my name?
Arthur, finisher, Alpha and Omega, ain't no one greater.
What's my name?
Everlasting, mic mashing, King of Glory, number 4 me. What's my name?
Wisdom of the ages, just turn the pages. Y'all can't move the crowd and rock stages, consistent with the truth blazing.
Tell me, have you ever heard someone so amazing?
Yeah. So anyway,
tell us about Jesus Rally 99? That was What was significant about
you
that
did the
time?
T-shirts.
I did the T-shirts.
You did the T-shirts.
I did do the T-shirts.
That was my first time doing it. I think that was my first time doing the Jesus rap.
Had the Mo Thug family up there posing.
That was the Mo.
You know, that was the Mo. Look, I got called out by a dude in the dorm. He was like, "Yeah, man, I saw that design." He said, "Wait a minute, man, that's a Mo Thug family on them shirts." You know,
that brother straight stole.
Yeah, Jack had Jesus with a hoodie on with his hands out. Before Trayvon.
Before Trayvon, Jesus with the come on, man, prophetic, bro. You prophetic.
So tell us about what happened that night. That was your first time.
That was my first time
performing
writing
as a Christian.
That was my first time writing bars for Jesus. My man, shout out to Sean. Sean put together these events called Jesus Rally.
Sean Sorrells.
And so this was an event where it was basically, they used to call us the Jesus Freaks, the Rallyites and the Jesus Freaks. What they call us? They call us.
Oh man, the
Rallyites.
My little cousin told me they call us the Jesus Rally people. Or
the Jesus
like
Rally folks, because we had the event called the Jesus Rally, right? And so basically, it would be like a choir would sing. Like Sean put together a choir,
and it was so dope.
And then we had Dawkins and Dawkins perform. Who else performed?
Ja Word was there.
Ja Word, yep. Ja Word was there.
Yeah.
That's who you need to get on the podcast too. And then we do like skits and like, did somebody preach that night?
Somebody did. I don't remember who preached that night. I remember Franchise kept on singing "Blessed" and people got mad. Like randomly, it wasn't even a part of the
Yeah, just trying to
Fred Hammond's "Blessed."
Just try. So anyway, the goal is during one of the songs, I can't remember what song. It was a Fred Hammond song. I can't remember which Fred Hammond song it was. Sean had the idea. He knew I rapped. Sean had the idea. It was like, yo, what I want you to do is in the middle of the song, we're gonna break the beat down, and I want you to come from the back. I want you to come from the back of the auditorium, rap it. And I think I had like 2 people with me.
You don't remember who they were?
I think Roy was one of them.
It was me and Big Roy.
Yeah. I remember Roy because Roy was huge.
Yeah.
And so I guess you and Roy were like behind me, and we was about to set this thing off, bro. We was like, and all I remember is I'm waiting for the signal, right? There's a break in this like show. Come in now. And I'm rapping my heart out. It's only like 12 bars, I think. Maybe 12, maybe 16, but it's a short part. And I'm rapping, and I'm like giving all my all, and then all of a sudden I recognize, like, hold up, I don't think they can. I'm like, ain't nothing coming out this mic. Like, I'm just, can anybody hear me? Nobody can hear me? And folks are looking at me like, yo, we can't hear what you saying.
Yeah.
And so then I run.
Yeah.
I beeline from the back of the building to the stage to try to grab. By the time I get to the stage and get a mic that's working, verse is over.
Right.
And so
you almost ran me over, bro.
I got mad and went to the back and I started kicking stuff over. And that's when I realized it wasn't even about God.
Yeah. I remember that show. You picked up something and threw it.
I was like, this ain't even about Jesus, right? This is about me, bro. It's about me getting my shine on. Because that place was packed, too. It was packed. And I want to say I was the most popular dude. But some folks knew me because of my lifestyle before, and I thought it was supposed to be special for me to kind of come out like, yo, this is what I'm about now. Yo, I'm about Jesus, y'all. Right. But I realized it was a very humbling process because I remember immediately, I don't remember if it was you, somebody pretty much told me, it was like, look, man, Jesus is still going to be glorified or whatnot. In our little hood Jesus way we were talking back then. And I just I got over it eventually, but it was, I can't say it was that night, but I got over it eventually. And I realized, like, yeah, man. I
thought you did get over it that night, man, because I remember walking up to you, man, making sure that you were all right. And I don't know what happened to you at that time, but you was smiling.
Yeah.
You was like, cuz, I'm straight.
It was a beautiful night, bro.
Saying?
I still remember it. I got pictures from that night at the house. Yeah, I got pictures.
Man, we need those pictures, dog.
I didn't know you had them. Yeah, I got some pictures. I think I got pictures of you, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see those.
I'm gonna send you some.
Man, that was like...
That night was beautiful, bro.
19 years ago?
And then the next day we did the concert in the in the gym. And I was MCing with Roslyn. And we was like Dawkins and Dawkins and Ja Word.
Tribe of Judah came down from Alabama State.
Yeah, they was bad.
Yeah, Sin Q was the guy who was directing the choir at that time.
Yeah. Is he do what he...
I don't know. I mean, I know he's not at State anymore.
Okay, but they was bad. I remember Tribe of Judah being bad.
Yeah, they were.
They were like Ty Tribbett before Ty Tribbett.
Yeah, they really were, man.
Yeah,
like seriously.
So no, yeah, and so that was my first, and then eventually after that, shout out to my man Jonathan Brooks, Pastor J. We ended up forming a group called Ecclesiastes.
Yeah,
and we would do a bunch of stuff on campus and events and stuff, and my mics wouldn't go out then.
So Jonathan is a pastor in Chicago right now, man, doing some awesome stuff.
Amen.
Just dropped a book, Church Forsaken.
Yep.
You know, he's doing some really big stuff. So
yeah. I wrote the forward on the book too.
Sure did. So I remember being in the studio with you and Jonathan, and I forgot the guy who was recording, but I remember him being real upset with y'all that night because he gave y'all a time limit, right? Because he wanted to watch Dragon Ball Z. Y'all recorded a little bit too long, and man, dude was upset, man. He was pissed because Dragon Ball Z was on, and y'all was still in his house trying to record.
This was back in the day where you could just Devo and DVR stuff. You had to like catch it when it came on. If not, you was out of luck.
So what we're gonna need is some Ecclesiastes music, because I don't even because no one's ever heard it outside. I don't know who all has heard it outside of just the group who were around you guys at that time.
I wonder if I got something. I may have something.
You know, the one that I remember is just the word
was but the whole word, nothing but the word.
Yo, studying the word of God. Let the word of Christ dwell in you.
Ecclesiastes 7:5. For it is better to heed the rebuke of a wise man than to hear the songs of fools.
Yeah.
Official speakers of the assembly.
From the cradle to the cross to the crown, baby.
Amen.
Elements of hip hop, son.
It's all about that word.
Yo,
here we go.
It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bibles and forget what you heard. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. These basic instructions before we leaving earth. Don't be mad cause you can't imitate or emulate the great who dares to make mistakes. I give him praise upon a daily basis. There's no occasion for him to be outdone in his occupation, leaving the hesitation of the devil's mind isolation. Evaporation, dropping styles like rain. Our conversation causing souls to get saved, to change their whole mind frame. And the way these brothers think, castle out 100 demons in the middle of the blink. 103, and he still ain't reached his peak. Grab your holy Bibles, translate what he speaks. Who is this? The man that rips knowledge into pieces. His word gets so deep, archaeologists can't dig his thesis. Turning men to nieces. Every time he speaks, salvation increases. We're made alive in him, read Ephesians. But since they can't see him, most probably won't feel us. To talk about a guy who died harder than Bruce Willis. We live off those things hoped for and not by sight. Just a basic instruction before I take flight. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. These basic instructions before we leave earth.
Yo, who's next on the mic? Amen. The Holy Ghost retrieve the Lord and Savior off the hook more than a telephone receiver. Now receive this lyrical knowledge we are displaying and pass the word like 600-meter relay. Now let's bounce back and get praise to the 3 in 1. The Father, the Holy Spirit, can't forget the Son. Not the center of the solar system, but the center of my joy. He makes Satan jet sound like Elroy. Oh boy, picture yourself in heaven's mind frame, shun fame, and we're gonna live forever in Jesus' name. Stay armed and dangerous, put on the armor of God. Defenseless are we never with this powerful facade. His word pierces Satan worse than a double-edged sword. When we accelerate like Honda, get on one accord. Lean on the true foundation for support. Stop flying out his grace, be united like airports. Not from Philly, but let's make it blunt like filthy cigars. Keep Satan flush royally like all face cards. Cause there's Jesus with the whole world in his hand, and poor Satan stuck with a full house of sin. So remember, if you play your cards right in his sight, then move through your body like the venom from a snake bite. Read the word, believe it, stay on point like E.T. and everything be like Christ, the final authority.
Because I'm high off his love, drunk off his covenant, washed by the blood. And yo, we loving it, we're high off his love, drunk off his covenant, washed by his blood. And yo, and now we loving it, we're high off his love. Yo, Christ got the competition, shook like our doctor. Thinking they got more soda when they sat on the foot locker. But we gon' stop them, way the world thinks. Man getting mad cause his knowledge won't leave. Jesus plus my sins to the cross equals graves. He will fall
lost, divided by 3 days, equals empty grave. I did the math, y'all figure the solution. Cats still getting mad about evolution. If y'all wanna know the truth on how we evolve, God grabbed us and made man in his form. Believe all or believe none. Y'all believe Christ was a sinless man, but don't believe he's God's son. Y'all be dumb to believe some. Some will read verses 2 and 3, but don't read verse 1. Some be trying to make it through Christ through the rear, but without the flesh, that's nothing but a good idea. Just some soul food for those who will consume. I take it to the cross, not the stars and half moon. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. These basic instructions before we leave the earth. The word, nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. It's the word, the word, the word. Nothing but the word. It's the word plus the whole word. Nothing but the word. Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd. Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. It's the basic instructions before we leave the earth. Because we high up the love. Now we drunk off this covenant. Washed by the blood. Guess what? And yo, we loving it. Yo, we high off the love. So we drunk off this covenant. Yo, study the word of God. Ecclesia. This was speaking of the assembly. Ecclesiastes. The script and the scroll turn the whole party out. The scroll turn the whole party out. Ecclesia.
Anything less than Jesus Christ is absurd.
Read your own Bible and forget what you heard. It's the word plus the whole word, nothing but the word.
Yeah, you did record that.
Yeah, we recorded that song.
Recorded it.
I think that was the night we recorded it.
But you recorded it again, right? Because I think, then you put that, no, I'm thinking about I See the Lord.
Yeah, I See the Lord. Yeah.
Because Jonathan was original on that song.
Yeah, so that song, that's crazy. So I wrote that song at the summer project that we were on together. In
Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, it's the first one though. So I think that was 99 or 2000.
That was 99.
And I remember somebody asked me, I think it was Sean again. Sean was like, hey, because he was leading worship for everything we would do. And he was like, I want you to perform a song tomorrow night. Can you write something? And I remember just being in the deep depths of like just worship. Come on, can we go back to the day? I used to, bro, something wrong with me now. I don't worship like that. I don't think I believe God the way I used to believe God. Something wrong with me. It's all this justice and activism stuff got me crazy. Got me cynical. But anyway, but I used to just be prostrate before the Lord. And I remember, I'll never forget that night. I was sitting in our room. I was at the desk, and I just remember just crying before the Lord. And somehow it led me to Isaiah 6, and I remember just reading Isaiah 6, and I'm like, I'm writing a song about this.
Man.
And then performed it the next day. And when I remember when everybody's like responses to it, I was like, yo, this song's gonna be something special. And then fast forward years later, the 116 Click, we decided to do a compilation. And they were like, yo, we need a song. You need a song. It's like, yo, can you please do that Isaiah 6 song? Put that I See the Lord on there. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. I gotta just find somebody to produce a track and sing it. And so after that song kind of just, and it to this day is one of my favorite songs.
Holy, 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 holy is the Lord.
Yo, here we are. Let us bow down before the Lord God, our Maker. Let's get intimate, yo. Let's worship Him.
Cast down my crown to worship you in spirit and truth. As I see you on the throne, I see your train fills the roof. I'm on bended knees, hands extended, closed eyes. Holy, holy, holy is Lord the Most High. Woe is me, I'm a man with unclean lips, and I live amongst some people who's on the same trip. Then when Sarah flew to me with coal in his hands, he touched me on my lips, said I was a brand new man. As the foundation shook, he's asking, who shall he send? I said, send me, Lord. I'll commit to faithful men. Sometimes, Lord, I feel like I don't give you enough to count it pure joy to persevere when times get tough. So I keep a concentrated relationship fixed on you. I keep my eyes to the hills so I can have a right view. I stand in awe of you, how you measure the earth with the palm of your hand, and yet and still you want to be friends with such an unclean man. So like John, I fall prostrate on this island of life. I worship you, recognizing you in power and might. glory and light, eternal in sight, blameless and right, creator of life, thief in the night, Jesus the Christ.
I see the Lord seated on the throne, exalted, and the train of his robe fills the temple with glory, yeah. And the whole earth is filled, and the whole earth is filled, and the whole earth is filled with his glory.
Yo, the sun suspends in the air. I can feel your winds everywhere. You care to the grains of my hair. Divine works all around me. I can't get past the evidence. The fact that you're invisible to me is irrelevant. I know you're heaven sent straight to the virgin birth. Gave me a second chance even after man's curse. A third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. You wore my crown of thorns. You took my licks as they spit in your face. Off the cross of sin and you embraced. Now I understand what's the meaning of grace. I war against the flesh, can't wait till the day that you come. Cause every day I'm rewriting Psalm 51. From the weak to the dumb, you make us shine like pearls. Got a new engagement, broke up with that girl named World. The relationship wasn't fruitful, I was Satan's pupil. They told me you was an unfair God, I believe those lies. I know the truth now, cause you've been fair since creation. Man failing and you gave man emancipation. I know the saying, one sin could make man fall, but with one drop of blood, he can save us all. I'm a living sacrifice, I lay my life up on the altar. I pray to have faith that don't forsake you like a martyr. I have a desire, that's to know you more. I have no choice to live holy, cause I see the Lord.
Holy, 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 is the Lord. I said he's holy. You know that he's holy, holy, yeah, yeah. Holy, holy is the Lord of Lords, yeah. I see the Lord seated on the throne. Tell me, do you see him? Exalted, and the train of his robe said I see him. Fills the temple with glory. I see him, yeah. And the whole earth is filled, and the whole earth is filled, and the whole earth is filled with his glory.
For the whole earth is full of his glory, and the foundations of the threshold tremble at the voice of him who called out. While the temple was filled with smoke, I said to myself, woe is me, for I am ruined, because I'm a man with unclean lips, and I live amongst a people with unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one seraphim flew to me, with burning coals in his hands. He touched me on my lips, said my iniquity is taken away, and my sins forgiven. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, who shall I send? Who will go for us? Then I said, here I am, send me.
Yeah, I think mine too, man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. It was definitely a game changer for us around that time. And I think for me, it felt really good being a part of that because we knew something big was coming.
Yeah.
You know, because I think, like the music, the CHH show, we didn't even call it CHH back then, but I don't think. But it was kind of scarce.
Yeah.
But to, have a couple of guys on campus, what was your rap name back then? Because it wasn't Sho Baraka.
It was Selah?
Was it Selah?
Deja Vu was my second. It was Selah.
What was John's?
Amen.
Amen anointed.
Yeah. Amen anointed. Yeah.
And so for me that's
so Christian. We was so Christian. Amen and Selah.
Yep. So anyway, man. So those songs was pretty dope. Other than that,
your boy JB on Instagram, you see people on there breakdancing and
I saw that
and performing songs. Yeah, he probably got it, bro. He probably got the. He probably still has the word if you get in contact with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. We'll get in contact with him. One of the things you didn't touch on, we're gonna kind of go back to this. You had your experience at Impact.
Yeah.
Impact. What
98.
98.
Yep.
I remember I didn't go to Impact with y'all because I had a girlfriend at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I brought your girlfriend up, so I'm gonna throw me up under the bus now. My girlfriend would have been mad if I didn't come home to spend time with her during that time.
Okay.
If I would have cut my vacation short, my Christmas vacation. And so I remember riding and.
She didn't go to Tuskegee, your girlfriend?
No, she didn't go to Tuskegee.
Oh, okay. But I think I remember.
Yeah, you remember because she kind of went off on you when you came to the house that following spring break. She told you to sit down somewhere, stop acting crazy in other people's houses, and you shut down for the rest of the night. But
I remember your mom wouldn't let me leave unless I took like 18 cases of Coke.
Oh yeah, she's still like that, bro.
She was like, "Nah, baby, you ain't." I was like, "Okay."
Mama's still like that. She retired in January.
Yeah,
she's good. She asks about you a lot too. So does my brother.
Oh man, tell your people I said hello.
Remember you? And that was years ago.
That's great.
But I remember I didn't go to Impact with y'all, and I felt so jealous, man, because I was riding. My girlfriend was on the passenger side of the seat. The only person who I knew with a cell phone at that time was DeMarco T, my roommate. But my girlfriend at the time had a cell phone, so I remember talking to DeMarco on the phone. Man, he was just telling me how dope it was.
Yeah.
And I just blanked out, and I was like, man, I wish I was there. Man, I hate I stayed at home. But my girlfriend is right next to me, so I can't imagine how bad she must have felt or how mad she was at me at that time.
Yeah.
But I remember just hearing y'all talk about it when you came back, and I felt like I really missed out on an experience.
Yeah.
Because, man, everyone seemed like they came back just transformed.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't one of those things where you go to a conference and, you let your light shine for a minute and then it kind of dies down and then you go back to your regular scheduled program. It's like you literally saw like the transformation that had happened, that had taken place with everyone. And I think that's kind of what made me ended up going to Blee.
Yeah.
With Byron Johnson and Campus Outreach.
Yeah.
That following summers because, man, whatever that was, man, I need to get me some of this. But so just talk to us about your Impact experience, and then Dre gonna take it over from now.
Yeah, man. So everything you just said is absolutely true.
My bad. So you ain't got nothing to say now. I didn't answer it for you.
No, for me, I'll say this. I don't know if it was because it was my very first Christian conference, but to walk into a building, and I don't know how many people were attending Impact around that time, but it felt like it was at least like 2,000 people. Right? So you walk in this building, my brother would sell Impact to me as this place where my brother is not, him and I are different. We're a different type of people, right? He's a pastor, and he kind of like, you wouldn't be shocked that he's a pastor, even though he's not like. I'm trying to figure out like the type of individual. He's an athlete, but he's kind of like your model athlete, like the dude who had good grades. But he always knew, like, if there was a crowd of people who would have an indelible impact on me, it would be Impact people, because he was like, that's what you need. Going to church with me is not the kind of people you need. He said, man, you need to come to this Impact conference. The other thing he knew was that Crossmoon was performing there, so he wanted me to like get that experience live. And he was like, man, you're gonna see people who like wear Timbs like you, who wear big baggy clothes like you, who wear their hats to the back. And I'm like, no, ain't no Christians like that, bro. They don't exist. I'm like, I was like, you find me a Christian who's wearing a hoodie and some Timbs, then I'm gonna tell you they're not a Christian. They smashing. I'm just letting you know right now.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he's like, I'm just telling you, just go. So I go, and the first thing that hit me was the aesthetic. Like, you sit there and you see all these black young men and women like excited about their faith, even if it was some folks it was faith. It don't matter to me. The fact that there was an environment where people could be excited about the Christ that they loved, and it seems like there was no hostility amongst brothers and sisters. Like you can have people walking around and that these folks are enjoying and loving one another. The other thing that was really huge for me was, and you probably experienced this as well, like being at Tuskegee, you had a whole bunch of different types of religions and you had different types of belief systems, especially folks who were trying to give you the kind of like that black conscious thought where Christianity was a white man's religion. So one of the things that I needed answered quick was, yo, I need somebody to tell me that this ain't a white man's religion and we ain't here to be enslaved. And literally, I remember the first workshop that I saw on the list was, did Moses steal his ideas from Egypt? And I remember saying, I gotta go to that workshop. And I remember going to that workshop and being blown away. And I just felt so relieved and comfortable, like, yo, like, why doesn't, like, where is this world outside of this building?
Right.
This is transforming, like, this is transformative. And I remember having the genuine excitement that DeMarco had, like, Impact was why I left the apartment and moved into the dorm with y'all jokers. Okay. Yep. Because I was like, look, so old girl that I was dating, infamous old girl that you keep bringing up, I called her the first night after James White preached on the, bro, he preached the crucifixion, the Passion of the Christ before the movie came out. He gave one of the most vivid descriptions of Jesus dying on the cross for my sins. And I remember him, the first time in my life I ever heard a person say, nah, Jesus just didn't do this for some good act in history. He did this because you put him there. He says, what are you going to do about this God on the cross? I'm pretty sure that word for word he said that. And I remember thinking to myself, like, yo, I got a responsibility? Like, I did that? And so I remember having this burden on me, like, yo, like this God truly wants to be reconciled with me and he wants me to take personal responsibility. And I remember sitting in a chair 30 to 45 minutes after everybody had left the building, and it's me and like maybe 40, 50 other people, and they're just crying, weeping, just like folks, and we're all crying and weeping for the same thing, because it's like, oh, we don't know what to do. And granted, I ain't never really been in nobody's, I used to go to church all the time, but I was going because my family made me go, right? So I knew like protocol, but I didn't know how to like be authentically submitted unto Jesus. So I'm sitting in a chair like, yo, I don't know what to do. Like, do I just say, I'm sorry, Jesus, and I'm a Christian? Like, I don't know what to do. And I remember getting up like after crying for like 45 minutes and going to my brother's room and being like, yo, I think I'm a Christian. I don't know what to do. And I remember him just being like, this smile coming on his face, and him with us just talking for like a good hour. And I remember after that, calling my girlfriend. I was like, yo, we gotta break up. It's over. And she convinced me not to. So the Holy Spirit wasn't that strong.
Well, listen, but I do remember when you did break up with
her. But so I did end up, I went back to, so fast forward a little bit, just jump forward. I went with January, went back to Tuskegee. February, when I was like, you know what, we're done. I gotta move out. And so I moved out and moved back into the dorms, and me and Rory were roommates, and that was a whole nother situation. But God bless it, I love my man Rory. But anyway, and so, but it was the best thing it was the best decision I ever made, like living in a dorm with all, like being that first floor, bro. We had that locked down. Were you in that first floor? You was in
I was in Russell Hall.
You was in Russell.
I thought y'all were on the second floor.
Nah, we was
on the first floor. Young Hall.
Yeah,
Young Hall.
We held for the first floor Young down because it was. I remember it was myself, Rory, Eric,
Foe and
Eugene,
Pope.
Dang, who else was there?
Bill.
Yep, Bill and French. Was Franchise in there? Who was Bill's roommate? There. Somebody's roommate. Bill was.
I don't know who.
But anyway,
Bill's roommate was.
It was a bunch of us, bro. We locked it down. So anyway, I'll say this, man. Impact to this day is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And to your point, it wasn't like any other conference where you just go and you feel like, oh man, this is good, and you walked away. It was definitely life changing, and I pray that, you know, there's stuff out there for folks who are searching like me when I was 18, 19, looking for something to just reach them where they are, man, because the world needs that, bro, and especially at times such as this.
Appreciate that, man.
Well, as I've been listening,
34 minutes, bro.
Which is no
35 minutes, bro. The first time we heard
this
you.
is the thing that is everything I'm hearing is a confirmation as to why you've been one of my favorite artists.
Come on, somebody.
Now, I know a lot of the stuff that Kevin been saying, you know, y'all been having a bromance for a long time. Right? So, before Tuskegee, like, where are you from originally? I mean, I know general stuff, but I don't know, like, you know, specifics. So,
from Southern California. Spent most of my life in Southern California.
What part?
The Inland Empire, all over. So like everywhere from like Moreno Valley to Chino Hills, San Bernardino. I graduated from Redlands High School.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I moved a lot, man. So we lived a little bit of everywhere in the Inland Empire.
Oh wow.
I lived in Inglewood a little bit too. So that's the only place in like in the LA area we live.
And the thing I find is interesting is that although you're a West Coast kid, because you know this is what you was telling Kevin, we have something in common in reference to you love the East Coast.
Yeah. So I loved West Coast rappers, but they weren't the West Coast rappers that was the most popular ones.
Which ones were that?
Like I love Pharcyde, I love Razzcazz, I loved another interesting story about Tuskegee, and I'll remind you about Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger. But anyway, I love Pharcyde, Razzcazz, I loved Alcoholics.
Okay.
I loved who else? I mean, I didn't hate Pac, but I just wasn't like the biggest fan of Pac. Hieroglyphics.
Okay, you were Freestyle Fellowship.
Yeah, Freestyle Fellowship. Yep. So that was my.
Yeah.
I used to go to Project Blow when I was young.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just about to bring it up.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
To try to. I never had the courage to rap, but I used to go with the homies because we had a group. Like my last 2 years of high school. Ahmad, was from our neighborhood. Not from my neighborhood, but from our city.
Okay.
But he claimed LA. And everybody hated him for that. So anytime he would do shows on our back home, folks would boo him off stage because he always claimed LA. He was like, "Bro, you from Moreno Valley, bro? Get out here." All right, Riverside.
Well,
so anyway,
it wasn't popular though to say you were from.
Nah,
Moreno
of course
Valley.
not. Nah, I mean it's still not really popping to like say you from a small
It's
town.
just so many people there now.
Yeah.
You would serve better to just say where you from.
Yeah.
But that's just like Long Beach, Snoop, people like that. Like once they started to concentrate it in certain areas, then they were able to just get,
But Long Beach is different from Movale. Like Long Beach just had that kind of LA feel. Like Movale was still struggling. Now Movale is kind of rough, but there was a lot. It's funny because there was a lot of people in that area. So MCA used to kick it out there a lot. I went to school with Coolio's daughter. Brandy was in that area. Who else was out in that area? Somebody else was in there. Anyway.
So when was the first time you heard hip hop? Like period. Like.
When I lived in New Orleans by that time. The time I was young,
you was all over the place.
Yeah, so my father played for the Saints, so we lived in New Orleans.
Oh wow, okay.
So we moved when I was around 7. When I was 7 years old, moved to California.
Oh.
And so maybe a little younger than that. But anyway, I have 2 older brothers. So my oldest brother is 6 years older than me, and so he used to have vinyl of like Run DMC, Fat Boys. I remember watching like Beat Street, Breaking. So like hip hop in our house was like I got hit with it at a young age.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So your favorite? So I know I heard you say Tribe. Were you like Tribe, De La, all of those?
I liked everybody. Like it wasn't. Yeah, it was, bro. My favorites were Tribe. I love De La. Like what were we talking about? Like 80s or what were we talking about?
We talking 80s into early 90s.
Oh man, that's kind of hard.
Cause Pac didn't. I mean, not Pac, because you said you didn't like. You almost got shot for Pac. But
I respected Pac, but he wasn't. He wouldn't make my top 10.
Ooh, okay.
Personal top 10. And when I say somebody's not in my top 10, that doesn't mean they're not great.
Yeah, no,
it's just people that I listen to.
Yeah, no.
And if you talk about 80s and 90s, like from the point where I was a kid to like when I got high school, Tribe is up there, Fugees is up there. Common. I became a fan of Common in college, so I can't put Common up there.
Okay.
Pharcyde is somewhere in there. Yeah. Biggie's definitely in there. trying to think who was out burning a lot then. It was Outkast.
Did you mess with Goody Mob?
I love Goody Mob.
Yeah, I love Goody Mob.
Goody Mob, their Soul Food album was the first, I think, one of the first CDs I bought with my own money. Because my dad was not about to buy me.
No.
So I remember buying. I bought 2 albums. I'm not gonna say the other album I bought, but the Goody Mob album was one of them, and I love Goody Mob. So they were definitely up there. But I remember the first time I heard ATLians. What's the name of the Me and You?
Elevators.
Southern Playalistic Cadillac.
No, that's on
Elevators on ATL.
Elevators. The first time I heard Elevators on the radio, I remember I lost my mind. I remember being like, what is this? This is amazing. I already knew who Outkast was, but I was like, oh, they about to change the game. So
yeah. I used to think the South was trash until Outkast came out.
Me too. I'm with you. I didn't listen to nothing in the South until Outkast. I mean, every now and then I would listen to like the Ghetto Boys. Basically, I would listen to my Mind's Play Tricks I use. What I'm trying to say.
but for us, that wasn't even the best.
I know, and that just tells you our limited range when it came to Southern music. Yeah. I remember. I'm gonna tell you a good story. I remember graduating. I graduated high school in '97. I remember going to Tuskegee. I ain't never even heard, and I'm just no joke. I ain't never heard of Master P in my life. Leaving California, I land in Alabama. I'm hearing all this music, and I'm like, who is this that y'all keep listening to? This dude sounds terrible. And he's like, man, you ain't never heard of No Limit? I'm like, bro, there's no limit to how much I want y'all to turn this off. This is terrible. And they was like, bro, where have you been? I was like, bro, I'm California. We don't listen to that. I went back home. That's all they was listening to was No Limit.
Really?
I was like, what happened? It's like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened?
I can get with that because even though I'm a Southern dude, when I first heard Master P, I thought it was like a parody or something like that.
Bro,
I thought he was playing.
But I'm not gonna lie, that make him say, bro.
That was the one.
Yeah.
That was the one that used to at Tuskegee when they turned that on. I was like, I don't like this, but this would do it.
Make you bounce on that New Orleans drum.
Doop. Yo, Mystical. I like Mystical though.
Yeah.
I used to like Mystical. I was like, he needs to leave and do his own thing. He left, but he didn't leave for the right reason. He left. He left. All right, but
came back and went back.
Come on, can we get ourselves together?
Yeah, man.
But anyway, but they were very smart. So anyway, I don't know what I was saying, but
no, I got you. Okay, so like to this, like let's progress to the 2018. Do you still listen to those same type of artists, like the De La's?
Yo, let me tell you this. I don't listen to nothing new no more because I just can't. I can't listen. So I have playlists on my phone.
So you telling me you have not heard the New Tribe?
Oh yeah, I listen to New Tribe. Yeah.
Okay, New De La.
I'll never say. The New Tribe is not even like it's good, but it's not what I like wanted the Tribe to be. But I respect it. I love like first of all, it's too many songs, way too many songs. Like, but it's good.
Even knowing that was Fife's last album.
Yo, I still
I
did think it's too many. It don't matter if it's your last album if the songs ain't dope. Like if it's, but I respect them and what they've done for the culture and what they still do. But it just some of those songs weren't that good.
Have you heard Ice Cube's new album?
I heard one song, bro, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not about that. And I listened to it, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but like, is it like? Have you listened to the whole album?
I have.
Is it twice?
Man, you know, I've just always been a Cube fan.
Now, Cube was the dude back in the day. I'm not gonna front. Yeah. I used to listen to NWA on a sneak tip, but yeah, America's Most Wanted is probably one of the best albums ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. So I will say he is one of the dudes that was like heavily. So I wasn't a gangster rap dude.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say if there was somebody who I listened to, Cube, and is anybody else in gangster rap heavy? Cube was probably the only one, and Snoop. I mean, you had to listen to Snoop and Dogg Pound.
Mm-hmm.
Like Death Row was just. So I listened to one of my favorite artists was Corrupt. I used to love Corrupt. Yeah. So
with that, in your opinion, when should an artist quit? Because this is one of the things we see on a regular basis. You've seen the interview with The Truth. I don't know if you got a chance to see it when he was talking about progressively growing older and your fan base doing the same. Yeah. But then coming in contact with a lot of the younger guys, in their mind, there's an expiration date.
So I don't know what Truth was saying, but what did he say? I'm sorry. He said what? Because I think I want to reference something, because I think I agree, but I want to make sure I understand what you said.
Talked about just the pressure that artists have, whenever they're doing music and they grow older.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said he was thankful for was the fact that as he grows older, his fans grow with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you guys feel the pressure to continue to keep a fan base that's consistently the same age as you grow older.
Yeah. Well, I will say I don't feel that pressure. I don't feel that pressure because I recognize the young heads don't want to listen to. They don't want to. I'm not that dude. Like I have nephews who are like 18, 19, and I was just hanging out with them like a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to them. I was like, who do y'all listen to? And every artist they name, I would listen to like a clip of their song, and I was like, this is terrible, bro. And they were like, this is the best thing ever. And then I would say, like, they were like, who do you listen to? And I'm like, all right, I named a couple dudes, and they was like laughing. I was like, Kendrick. They was like, he old. I was like, Kendrick's old? Mm-hmm. So that's when I knew. I was like, I'm out the game. Yeah. I was like, you are not my audience anymore. I was like, so I'm not even trying to even like. I don't care about you guys. There's somebody out there who's gonna get you guys. It's not Sho. So I haven't cared about trying to reach. Now there are some young people who do love my music, but I'm not rapping to get those folks' attention. So like Truth says, like I am rapping for the folks who I rap for me, right? And if there's a show out there, that person is gonna get this music because I'm thinking about what do I want to hear as an individual on the radio or that comes across my Spotify or iTunes. And so when I write music, I write for me. And I think there's a lot of people out there like me. Because we gotta think about this, like hip hop is close to 50 years old, and as the audience and as the genre gets older, there are going to be artists who are going to continue to perform, and the only way that those artists are going to be successful is if the fan base and the genre gives them the liberty to make music for the old heads, right? If we continue to say like you're only going to make it by trying to reach 18, 20-year-olds, then they're going to continue this like extended adolescence. It's not helpful, right? And so not only do we have to affirm them by letting them know in every form possible that we appreciate it, but also like going to their concerts as well. And that's why it grieves my heart to see dudes who are close to 40 or over 40 still like acting like they 20 something, like making music. I'm like, bro, like that, granted, that may be where your heart is at, and if that is really truly where your heart is, cool. But if that is where your heart is, if that's where you are because of like sales, you'll get like found out easily. Like it just doesn't come off authentic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, so I forgot what the initial question is. I love Truth's new album.
The initial question was, when should an artist stop?
So artists should stop. I don't know, bro. I don't know how to answer that question. I think I can tell you when I think some artists need to stop, but
so some of them do need to stop.
Yeah, I think some artists need to stop because I listen to their music and I feel like, one, I think as you get older, you get wiser, right? And I think your music should reflect that. Your content should reflect the growth, but not only should your content. I also feel like the reason why dudes still sound dated is because they're still not fans of they're stubborn with how they make music and art. And you got to understand that even though you don't have to switch your style totally, you still have to evolve a little bit. Like your style has to adapt. Like you can't still use stock sounds that were cool in the 90s and think you can get away with that today. Like no, like figure out how to evolve your sound to something that's current without sounding like you're trying to be trap or you're trying to be something you're not. Like, so for me, you look through the evolution of my music, I feel like not only am I as a lyricist, I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like my content's getting better, but I feel like the musicianship in my music and my art is getting better as well, because I'm allowing other people to be great at what they do and stretch and challenge me. And I feel when you get to a place where you can't do that anymore, it's time, and you're not getting the affirmation from other folks, then you need to shut it down. Like you need to stop rapping. And yeah.
Is this something that you came to while you're in the process of still putting out albums and creating? Or was this something that you already had a good firm understanding as to how you were going to move even before you started putting out albums? Because you seem to have a pretty good sense and understanding of how you want to move.
Yeah.
But not every artist is like that. They go through those identity crises.
I'm from a family of athletes, so with that being said, like, people know when you're good enough to do something. Like in my house, I stopped playing Madden, the game. I stopped playing when I started getting beat by people who weren't athletes. I was like, I can't do this. Like, you ain't never played ball a day in your life, and you whooping me on Madden. Like, I can't do this. I'm no longer good at this game, so I'm done. Like, when I go and play basketball, even to this day, I know my limitations. Like, I'm not trying to go out there and shame anybody. I'm going out there to exercise. I'm not going out there to show off. I'm going out there to get a serious sweat, and I'm not gonna even give it 90%, because that's when you tear something. That's when you mess up a knee. And at my age, I can't afford to be doing that.
Yeah.
So I know my limitations on the basketball court. I feel the same thing with artists. Like, you know how good you are. You knew how good you were, and you know if you're still as good as that or if you've lost it. And I think some artists need to look around and say, you know what, I've lost it, and either I'm going to do it just because I just love doing it and don't expect a lot from me, or I'm going to do it because I feel like I'm just as good or I'm getting better. And I think some people are just stubborn and they don't allow themselves to be challenged. I think some people completely fold to the pressure of being assimilated into what the new sounds are, and they sound like a knockoff of what's popular, and that's bad. So you don't want to be on either. You want to be in a good, healthy place where you're growing, but you don't sound like an imitation of Drake or an imitation of Migos, or like, you know. And so for me, I already know when I'm gonna stop, but it's not gonna be because I feel like people are going to tell me to stop. It's going to be because I just feel like I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not interested in doing it anymore. So,
is there any parts of the music that you really, really love when you first started, but that you don't love so much in reference to the process?
Yeah,
or
the whole industry. I mean, it's changed, but before, at least, I could endure. One of my greater concerns for me when doing this in general was I just wasn't excited about the constant pressure to sell myself and marketing myself. One, as an individual, I feel like I struggle with people pleasing. I struggle with wanting to be liked and appreciated by all people, no matter if they care about me or not. Like, that's just something I struggle with, and that can ruin you because you're constantly trying to, like, hey, you know. I remember when, you know, there'd be times when I would be on social media and my whole goal was like, man, I just want to get people to laugh and like me on tweets, and, you know. And then I go through these spells where I'm like, you know what, I just need to get off because I am consumed by this. And then you think about, like, as a Christian, I think there's an inherent, how I say this, I don't want to sound like too pretentious, but there, as someone who loves Jesus, I think there is somewhat of a problem with the way the market is structured for you to feel this pressure to constantly put yourself in front of people and market yourself as something that you're not quite, like, something that you may not really be.
Yeah.
And that's what the industry needs for you to do in order for you to sell records and for them to make money off you. You have to constantly always appeal and appease to people, and that can be exhausting, that can be tiring, and then it's also, in a sense, it's a slippery slope of you creating an image of yourself that is not humble, and it's not real and authentic.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the Christian music market is specifically is designed to create this monolith of you that is not real. Because you have to be marketable to parents, you have to be marketable to the kids, you have to be safe. You know, you can't really expose yourself for who you truly are, flawed, and struggling, like if I'm struggling in my marriage, I can't really let that like folks know if I want them to buy my album about marriage. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a person who struggles with porn addiction, I can't really like communicate that for real, and I'm talking about loving Jesus, trusting Jesus. You know what I mean? Like these are the things, because if this music is being marketed to certain people, they don't want their kids hearing this, right?
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I think some of the there's inherent obstacles that are built within specifically Christian music genres that is just problematic. And I don't have a problem with individuals who want to not be labeled as Christian artists because they want to avoid those pitfalls. But the other struggle of that is that recognize that the world is not about to welcome you with open arms as well, because you're communicating a message that they inherently don't really. It's a killjoy, right? And so now we are in this interesting dilemma. Like, who are you as an artist? What do you communicate? And so, yeah, for me, one thing you're gonna learn is that I always forget the questions.
No, that's but
what was the question?
But the interesting thing is,
we just yap it.
Corey Red had made a comment during our interview that he was, and I don't even know if we got to this particular part of the interview yet, but he said, "I'm too hood for the church, but I'm too church for the hood."
Yeah,
and he was just like, and I'm paraphrasing. But he was just like, I understand my audience, and I know it's small.
Yeah, amen. I'm glad he. And so for me, same thing. When I realized, and this wasn't many years ago, but this is fairly recently when I realized, I was like, yo, I know who my audience is. I know my tribe, and I had to be very content with reaching my tribe, not reaching somebody else's tribe, because we spend so much time trying to figure out how do we get somebody else's fans. When you got people in front of you who are just dying to hear what you have to say about things, they love your music, they love you as a brand, but you're so discontent. You're like, yo, but I need that person's. And when you the people who's gonna work the hardest for you is your people. So if I can impact and give my people as much information and music as possible, they're gonna talk so much about me. They're like, yo, but you ain't heard Sho. And they're gonna be like, why you always talking about this show? Like, let me hear something. You know what I'm saying? That's how Cross Movement got to me, is people kept talking about Cross Movement. And so, the best Christian rap group ever. And so,
I mean, I understand now, you know, why you feel that way. But I can throw out a couple of names. Okay, so
you're not gonna throw out any names that are good.
I want you. Okay, there you go.
You're gonna throw a bunch of names and folks.
Soup the Chemist.
Because somebody Soup the Chemist was
SFC.
Good. Yep, Soup was dope.
Okay, Freedom of Soul.
I've never heard of Freedom of Soul.
Oh my goodness.
Sooner or later, meet the creator. I've got the data. I'm the educator, a mediator, even an arbitrator. To grab the fader, make the volume greater. Don't make me wait another minute. Win it, we won when he said it's done. Don't try to run, cause in the outcome, you'll be the lonesome one. Fun, not hot, very, very mercy. I wish thee on you, Missy. Mister, I hope you listen to me. Sin in all of us like a virus, but I got the cure. His name's Jesus, just trust, rush. No, I can't hush or slow down when I rhyme nails in any town. The sound waves, pounds, clowning, devils, bass and treble, rebels with much cause. Force catch a breath. D-E-F-G, come see me when I arrive. Whether I drive, train, bus, ride, fly, air, line, nighttime, daybreak on a box lot. Little crowds that are middle, moaning matters. If you can't have us, just try to gather up just what you can. Hand in hand, we possess the land, save the man. That's the plan. Daniel 9, 1994, coming back for more score. Whether it's heat or it pours, tours, we do tours from New York to Seattle seashores like Lou Rawls. You'll never find a love like mine. Quit searching for that person. I got him, you want him, boom, real soon. There he be, C-Y-O-S-U-P-G-R-A-B-T-H-E-M-I-C-A-N-D-R-I-B. Rugged, ripping, brothers tripping off of the
the track, off of the rap. I made that, it's fat, so give up the soul clap. If you're down with real rap, if not, you can walk back through the door that you came through. Freedom of soul, that's the name of this crew. Cartoon, that's the brother on the 1 and 2. We bring to you that C-Mo fuzz up, that's made for the trizz up. So fuzz up the jizz up, loud, proud. I am really though, don't be silly, bro. I know you ain't heard a flow like this before. If you say you did, you're just lying, trying to get some recognition. And MC fishing for a flow. Frankly, I'm fascinated that you found the freedom of soul sound fresh enough to take around town and play it for your homeboys. That's cool, whatever.
It's all about the creator, baby.
Who you gonna be sooner
or later? Yes, it's me, the TBONE, telling you about a man who can change your life, rearrange your things that you do, like puffing on a blunt, sipping on a brew. New is what he can do for you too, bro. The freedom of soul, también en español, el Señor está en control de todo lo que digo, of everything I say. So brothers and sisters, are you ready for the judgment day? If not, you better get prepared. Scared is what you'll be, but me, I'll be gone in the R-A-P-T-U-R-E. Maybe before the end of this ballistic, as I'm humming and jumping and oh man, I got tongue twisted. Hold up a minute, maybe I could sing it. This is love, not forget it. I can't dance and I can't sing, but I can guarantee life everlasting. So sooner or later, wait a minute, let me finish this 4-minute flow. Oh my God, toe to toe, fist to fist. Don't you wish you had this? Well, sooner the better. Don't you forget a simple prayers. All you say make your day. It's okay, a ray of sunshine you will find. Climb out your shell, get up if you fell. Go on and tell you're safe from hell. Well, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. My man Cartoon, I'm the peaceful one. Run, don't walk, shout, don't talk, pitch, don't walk, bomb, don't talk. Ought to, you ought to surrender. Pretender to the mender of hearts. Stalkers, don't be sorry, Charlie. See, every need shall be OW now or later. Don't be afraid of this, just take it, don't fake it. For goodness sake, it's free. Peace 586 IB. I say to thee, do it sooner or do it later.
See, okay, so yeah, okay, so that's understandable. That's
So you have-
understandable.
what
I'm gonna have to
about
make sure I
SFC?
get you some.
I never really got into Soldier for Christ.
I gotta get some freedom of
I'm not
soul.
gonna
Got
lie.
to.
I've never really gotten into Soldier for Christ. I know. No, that's Preachers in Disguise. I know Fred.
PID.
I know Fred. Can't remember his last name.
Fred Lynch.
Fred Lynch. I know Fred Lynch, but I never really got into that. Let me tell you this though. The Crossman, and all respect to the other folks who you mentioned. Soup the Chemist is probably the one exception or anomaly in that group that I can think of right now. Bro, when I listen, they always sounded like 10 years behind. Like if I was to
You talking about Cross Movement?
No, I'm talking about the groups you named.
Oh.
The Cross Movement sounded like they were 3 years.
album.
They
That
were 3
first
years
album.
behind.
Okay.
No, that production was struggled a little bit.
Okay.
But what I'm saying though,
See where you are with this.
no. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best work.
Make sure you're not a fanboy.
No, there's Cross Movement was a little bit behind, according to their contemporaries.
Okay.
But everybody else was even further behind, like Christian artists. Like if I threw on, say one of those individuals you named, they sounded like they were 7 years behind, versus Cross Movement were like 2 to 3 years behind. But I'll tell you this, the Cross Movement's lyrics and content to me was like, they weren't just rapping about like I shoot a devil in his face.
Okay,
like
yeah.
like they were giving me like depth. And there wasn't a lot of people who was giving you depth. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, because Corey Red and Precise I love them, but they weren't giving me like Hank Hanegraaff, right? You know what I'm saying? They weren't giving me that stuff.
Systematic theology.
Yeah, they weren't giving me the but I could rock with it because he was talking about Lil Teresa on what was that line? In the hallways. Anyway, it was real.
Yeah, he be saying some stuff.
Somebody
Somebody getting raped. And it was
somebody giving Dome in the hallway something. It was like, I was like, word? You can say this on a Christian?
Corey can say it.
Bro, Corey can say it. That's it.
Yes.
Corey can say it.
Yeah, you need to go and listen to our last.
Man,
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, he's a realist, and I love him. I actually interviewed him a long time ago before I released my own project. I was doing a documentary on Christian hip hop, like in 2005, 2006, and I flew out to New York to interview him and some other folks. Good dude, real dude.
So when you did, because like when I follow your catalog of music, it makes some very drastic shifts. You know, I mean, like you it's like you refuse to, and I don't even know if it's a thought process more so than it is. You just living life, experiencing different types of music, and then you experiment. You know, I don't really see that many people. When I think about individuals that experiment and cover certain themes and topics, when I look at like the Talented 10th, I think you are a little ahead of your time on that. Although I feel like I got it, a lot of people that I played it for, they didn't seem to grasp the same. But then the thing about it is, as I say maybe about 3 years into the future, then people was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This stuff kind of makes, you know, this is making sense to me now. You know what I'm saying? In comparison. When you worked on the Talented 10th, did you feel like it was going to be one of those, they might not get this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I knew it was going to be, I knew I was taking a huge risk. And it's part of the reason why I was an independent record, because I don't think, especially Christian labels at the time, was willing to go in that direction with me. And I think it was one of the wisest and stupidest decisions I ever made in my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was both rewarding and it was, it made me, so it was rewarding in the sense that I'm glad, to your point, like all the things that people say about it, being ahead of its time and kind of shifting, especially the, you know, this Christian rap culture, that whatever you want to call it. But it also was a risk that didn't pan out in the sense that it isolated me in a lot of ways, because financially I took a pretty big hit. Socially, I didn't have a lot of people supporting me, so I felt isolated, and some of that was me isolating myself, because I was like, yo, none of these bleeps get me, so bleep them, you know what I mean? So, and ain't nobody riding with me, blah, 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 blah. And then to your point, like, oh, all of a sudden all these jokers now they woke, but they weren't woke in 2013 when I was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And taking these L's by myself. And then, this is before Black Lives Matter. This was before, was it 2012 or I released the album in January of 2013. And so it was just, and I'm not saying I was the first dude to like talk about these issues, but I just and so in that it created these silos, like this isolation, this marginalization for me that wasn't beneficial for my soul, you know what I mean? But over the long run, I think the Lord uses things like this to sharpen us, as you know, James talks about, consider it all joy. And I learned to persevere through these trials, and it was beautiful, because at the end of it, I think it's made me the wonderful person I am now. I'm excited. I went through those seasons. I'm excited. I learned a lot. It actually was a catalyst for me to do a lot more speaking and thinking, because now folks weren't just seeing me as a rapper. They were like, man, the things you're, and honestly, I just felt like the albums before that, it wasn't all of who Sho was. You know what I mean? It just wasn't, I was given a part of who I was.
Gotcha.
Like, I grew up in a household where my parents made me like read certain things and care about certain things. When I was in college, I went to Tuskegee at HBCU, so I'm having conversations about justice. I'm learning about Black history. I'm hanging around dudes like Kevin. We're having these discussions about race, and I'm around blackness. And then you see this individual who comes out and makes music. He doesn't seem like that's who he is, right? You know what I'm saying? Even though on Lions and Liars, there's a couple songs where I'm talking about that. Yeah. But it was still very kind of like this very putrid, kind of like tamed.
It seemed like you had to fight for just those.
Yeah. Yo, there's an interlude on there where he says, I'm black, right? He's like, I'm black because blah, 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 blah. My man Adam Thomason did that. And I remember folks back then, like, it's nothing even incendiary on there. It's just like, all he's saying is like, I'm black. And at the end, he's like, you know, I think he says, my brother next door wouldn't be white. I'm not black. We're all the same color. You know what I mean? Just something like that. He didn't say it like that, but basically what he's trying to say is like, man, at the end, we're all humans and we should love each other. I remember people back then being like, yo, why do you need this on your album? This is pointless. You're causing division. And I was just like, what? So anyway, that's when I knew. Like after that, I was like, yo, I got to get him. I was like, I got to get him. I'm gonna have to hit him with this. And so I went to the blackest of blacks with telling him to.
Trapped in a crazy place, asking the Lord for amazing grace. I see the masses wanna change me. I'm waiting for someone to save me. Until then, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Hello, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, I am the invisible man. Though I have a soul, I am from an invisible land. They gave me a slave pen for my freedom of speech. Yeah, I'm trying to leave the island, but swimming through bleach. Come on, son, why you always ruin the mood? Race talks happen every time you enter the room. Cause there's ignorance in the masses. Too many people think racism is past tense. We fight for blackness, but we don't know what black is. I know it ain't the zero sum of white man. They wanna know how to reach the hood like there's magic. Like we're all the same, like we're not dynamic. Hollywood wants to pimp us to get dough. Exploit us but give us money. Somebody say, yeah, let's take those movies and them TV shows. Be a token or play a Uncle Tom role. Or be a magic Negro until the day I'm gone. Hope the white man reaches goal but never reach my own. Or an oversexed male, even a coon. A young man who loves ignorance, praising his doom. Until then, I feel I'm trapped in a crazy place, asking the Lord for amazing grace. I see the masses wanna change me. I'm waiting for someone to save me. Until then, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Hello, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Say hello to the great cultural brainwash, washing my brain from some of the things that race taught. Miseducate, colonize, divide, teach beauty is straight hair and the bluest of eyes. And because of lies, I'm debating 5%ers. How the Mideast movement gon' be a white man's religion. How the privileged man say it's time to move forward and say the game's fair when he monopolized the board. And corporate greed just manipulates the poor. Outside the hood, I don't see liquor stores. I know God is sovereign and I should pray about it, but a man won't stop it if it increases his profits. And most ain't realistic with the flow. They make music for the streets, but I don't see them at the show. So instead of truth, they rather be duped. I guess they want me to make more songs for youth groups. Until then, I feel I'm trapped in a crazy place, asking the Lord for amazing grace. I see the masses wanna change me. I'm waiting for someone to save me. Until then, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Hello, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Yeah, I got a double consciousness, but I'm still in touch. Cops got my hands in the air, so I ain't feeling much. Looking for protection, all I can see is tyrants. I'm fighting them coons, them thugs, racists, and dynamics. That lady you call hope, that's my lover. That woman you call bitch, that's my mother. Them boys that you killed, them my brothers. Send a ship to the island, we can rescue some others. Did they fight for civil rights so we can sit on gold? I can't walk in your shoes, you keep selling your soul. No, ain't much Booker T when you look at me, but a whole lot of the boys making noise. Until then, I feel I'm trapped in a crazy place, asking the Lord for amazing grace. I see the masses wanna change me. I'm waiting for someone to save me. Until then, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Hello, I guess I'm stuck here on nigga island. Yeah, where niggas be wildin'. Yeah, and color is violence. Yeah, moment of silence. Here we are.
Crow, say go Jim Crow. Go Jim Crow, say go monkey go. Yeah, it's what you want me to do, right? It's what you want me to do, right?
Are you entertained? Are you entertained?
That a lot of artists have, man. It's like you feel like a wind-up doll to white audiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Come on here and rap to these little white kids.
Yeah, these kids, be a babysitter.
And you jump around, and then you start feeling like a fool when you're up there. Especially when you're talking about things that pertain to your life, and there's no way for them to even understand.
I'll never forget the moment it hit me. I was in New Mexico at a high school, and I was performing with another artist. And we were doing a concert, and I was on stage, and I got off stage, the other artist got on stage, and I remember going to the back. I called two people, and I was like, Sean. I called Sean Sorrells. I was like, yo, bro, I think this is it. I think I'm done. He's like, you done what? I was like, I don't know. But I know I just can't do this no more. I just cannot be on the stage talking to people who don't understand. One, I'm like, I don't even think they get what I'm rapping about now, and this is not even really, honestly, like all that deep. Like I'm doing We Could Be More, I'm doing like Kobe Bryant on them, I'm doing all the songs that I think will get them out. But even like the subtleties in those songs, I'm like, damn, I don't think they get what I'm talking about. And I was like, so if they're not getting this, why not just be my whole self? Why not just talk about the things I really, really want to talk about? Because I would have folks who would come up to me like, yo, Sho, man, I mess with everybody in your crew, but you my dude because I feel like there's something about you, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, I need to just say, you know what, forget trying to be, this person. Let me just try to reach the shows out there. Like, I just want to get the Sho Barakas who just want to hear. And that's when I was like, you know what? That's when the Talented 10th came. I was like, I gotta be me. I gotta be me. But that's it. And I think this recent movement away from the labels of that, the stigmas, is good and bad. I think it's good because we need people to be able to identify or create lanes for themselves and say, look, I'm not going to be measured by what the industry, like I'm not going to be what the industry says I have to be. Yeah. On the flip side, I think it's created this disproportionate swing to where people aren't rapping about the glory of God anymore. And I think we need that. Like, we definitely need people who will make much about the Lord, because everybody want to be justice folks, and some of these folks, y'all, you don't even know nothing about justice. You read one James Baldwin book, now you think you know anything about, like, just sit down and keep rapping about Jesus. That's fine. Like, be you. Like, it's okay, because they're trying to get I think a lot of us are trying to get approval in circles that we'll never get approval in anyway. Like, because they want you to denounce everything about you in order for you to be accepted in that audience, in that crowd anyway. So just be who you are, but don't be a puppet or a wind-up doll for the folks that you talked about, right? And I think what's happening is we just need somebody real dope to come through, make some dope Jesus worship music, but for it to be like real authentic. And we just need another like cross movement, another 116, somebody who's just authentically loves Jesus, but they are who they are, right? And they're not trying to, and they're not ashamed of being associated with the church, but being associated with a church in the way that they see the church, not as white evangelicals see the church. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think it's too late for the old heads. Like, we got to learn how to bring up other folks who can take our place. And I think the problem with, and I'll say myself included, the problem with a lot of us is we don't want to raise folks up because we don't want to lose our position. Like, we don't want to lose our platform. You know? Well, yeah.
So you moved from Talented 10th. So for me, when I heard that, I was like, man, I didn't think that you could. I knew you was going, like grow from there, but like I didn't see High Society coming like at all, right?
High Society was before Talented.
It was before it?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite albums, bro.
Why?
Easy.
Why? I mean, I felt like it was a lane that hadn't been filled in
absolutely
in Christian music at all, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like it still ain't. It's just, and why was it just one? What happened?
People, man. We just individuals, bro.
So is it a chance that it can happen again?
Nah, it's not gonna happen. I don't want to do it again.
Dang,
yeah,
man.
I wanted to. There was times where it was gonna happen, and we were working behind the scenes, but it just never came to fruition. But I think, you know what? Now I'm at that place where it just needs to be what it was, and we just need to let it be. But easily one of my favorite albums ever working on, and I knew it was something special when I would play, like, we had like about 5 or 6 songs done, and I would go places and I would play for folks, and I was like, yo, listen to this new project I'm working on. And not one person, it got to the point where I was playing it for like mainstream heads, because I had a publicist, and he would get me in these offices and like sit down with like some significant people, and they would listen to it and they would look at me like, who are you? And they was like, what is, like, what is this? But we didn't have like no name. Like, it was like, they was just like, yo, I don't know what I can do with this. This is some of the best music I've heard, but I can't do nothing with this. I don't like y'all, who y'all signed with, like, you know. And there was a couple folks who was trying to get us like to sign like deals with them, and it just didn't happen. So we ended up just releasing it like for free, because I think we were just, honestly, I felt like if I would have been a little bit more patient, if we would have been a little more patient, we probably could have done something really, really, really serious. Because that album was, I listened to it like recently, I was like, this thing is dope. But that was just the Lord, bro. Like, it just happened. It was supposed to be just me and Swoop. Me and Swoop were working on some songs together, and then I think we hit up JR, because I had a conversation with JR, because JR was in the same space I was in at the time. JR actually was in the space before I was in it, actually, if I'm honest, because everybody was writing JR off. They were like, man, JR falling off, he don't love Jesus no more. And I remember hitting him, I was like, yo, man, I hate that you getting because he had done a mixtape called Murray's Grammar.
Yep, that was good, man.
And folks was like, what is this? Is Jesus? I don't understand. And I remember hitting him, I was like, yo, man, I'm in that same space with you, bro. Like, I'm just trying to make dope music and love God. And he's like, yeah, man. I was like, yo, me and Swoop are doing this. He's like, what? I gotta be a part of that, dirty. So I was like, well, let me hit up Swoop and let's see. And Swoop was like, of course. And so the three of us set up a studio session, and we was just, and then at the time, I had just met Natalie, and I knew she was a writer, and we were like, man, we need some ideas. So she came in and listened to the songs we had already like finished and started, and she's like, nope, I ain't helping y'all with nothing unless I'm a part of this project. And we was like, why not? And I'll never forget that night. It was like one of the dopest nights, bro. It was so fun. Like, we were just in the studio, just killing it, songs, building, making it, having fun. And then, yeah, I remember doing a South by Southwest. I'll never forget this. I think it also discouraged us too. So, for instance, like, we did South by Southwest. Yeah. I just remember being like, so I remember in Twitter was. Yes, Twitter was popping, Twitter or Facebook. I remember people like tweeting like, yeah, Sho Baraka and them was on stage talking about the devil and stuff, and it was like, this is a Christian event, why y'all talking about the devil?
They say that he's lost his light and his pure soul, that this dark world turned his heart cold. Is there a place that he can call home?
Lord, have mercy on his soul. He hates diamonds and gold, but he does love stones. And plus I see him running after me. He claimed that the devil helped me create the masterpiece. It sounds like they want me to apologize for getting off the boat and being colonized. Well, my man,
Thank you for the favor. I'll try loving this dude who hates being my neighbor. They wanna label me insane cause they gave me a canvas, but I'm sketching out the frame, bruh. Well, we should be building up a fellowship. Instead of building, he tears it down so he can throw the bricks. I need to break out this container, her idiot box, yeah, so watch me entertain ya. I heard they changed the manger to a hotel, so now the outcasts have no place to go dwell. Well, they say the devil's in the beat. They say the devil's in the tone. Yeah, they say the devil's in my rhymes. They say the devil's in my song. Yeah. They say the devil's in it. They say the devil's in it. Yeah. They say the devil's in it. They say the devil's in it.
I hear the screams of people saying he's gotta be Illuminati or some secret society. Possibly got demons inside of him. Evil probably harvesting his artistry. Possessed, kept under an evil, like he can only be kept under the steeple. Cause in his eyes all I see is Satan, a beast that's raging. Jesus save him. Man, all of that is what I'm hearing, but I don't say nada, I just hold up a mirror so they'll see their reflection with clarity. So tell me, is that perfection or Pharisee? Label me a hypocrite, say I teach them wickedness, cancels each other out, that's common sense arithmetic. Too quick to assess me as Judas. Know the streets fruit is always where the proof is. I hear the devil in the beat. I hear the devil in his tone. I hear the devil in his rhymes. I hear the devil in his songs. I hear the devil in him. I hear the devil in him. I hear the devil in him. I hear the devil in him.
Under the night, the moon and the stars, they're watching his steps. He's traveling too far, although he often falls, he continues to run. He seems to have strength that is foreign the sun. Under the night, the moon and the stars, they're watching his steps. He's traveling too far, although he often falls, he continues to run. He seems to have strength that is foreign the sun, that is foreign the sun, that is foreign the sun. Inherited from his heritage, appearing his arrogance is the bed he is nestled in, covered by his lineage. Thoughts are just a narrative, never mind the fears that they appear as heretics. Yeah, he hates left field, he knows what right is, he just hates how left feels. The casualty to normalities, and change is unbearable, so he'd rather just settle to carry stones.
This is the story of a sojourner who was found in embassy on foreign soil. The onlookers don't recognize his pedigree, so their natural response is xenophobia. He's exhausted and weak due to the constant defense of his intentions. Never before has their ignorance led to violence, but that was before, and this is the current situation. The nonsensical mob has encircled his home, and after hurling stones, he says,
You don't see them broken windows? They threw me to the fire, and they threw the brimstone. All of this cause I suck at playing limbo, bending over backwards to people please them folk. When I'm supposed to tiptoe, all around they lost for. You are not my judge or my lawyer, don't get me wrong, I'm awful. Godly rebuke that moves us forward. Agenda-driven wisdom, it often leads to slaughter. So I take my orders from the one who's sovereign, author of faith, the offer of grace, grace that sustains when the bark of the talkers. I say I'm walking awful awkward. I'll be planting seeds to them things growing pollen in the garden. All them, either Eden or Olive or Madison Square, Allen in there to make sure them things bring a harvest. You may see me as an artist, and I'm like hardly. My CD speaks of a gardener, and he's in need of a partner. With these 3G full of water, then the increase from the Father. So often, people play the dirty, rotten lawyer. They accept the laws, but think they need to augment all of the laws into things that are partial. But if you make the laws, then what we need the law for?
Because you know the song Devil we had, right? And they was like, it just felt like weird. Folks was just like, And I think that discouraged us as a group, because it was like, yo, we killing it. We giving y'all real music, and folks wasn't just vibing. So we did like 4 shows on that run. We did a show in Dallas that smashed. Like, it was just us. Like, last minute tweet, I was like, yo, we doing this free show in Dallas, donation or whatever. Tadashi opened up for us, and we did a show. It was about 200 people. Amazing event. The next day we did South by Southwest. It was terrible. The day after that we did a live show in Houston. And it was like a coffee house setting. It was on like about 75, 80 people in this coffee house. But it was like so dope. And folks was just like, it was at a bar too. And that was the other thing. It was weird because JR was like, yo, y'all go buy some drinks in the bar. And folks was looking around like, can we do that? It was hilarious. And so, and then after Houston smash, it was like live, and we were doing all live band too. So that's the other thing. Like, this is folks want doing all live band hip hop in Christian circles, right? And so then after that, we did Jackson State University through like L and Phil. They had like a RUF black, yeah, and so they pulled a whole bunch of people together, and it was like, yo, High Society's coming to do a concert. Did that show. Smash. And it made me realize like we had our own audience, and us trying to perform for other, like in other people's audience, it just wasn't. And it's the other thing, nobody would show us public love. Nobody. Other artists was not, like, very few artists. Like, I remember the Breaks were similar to us. They would show us love because Ruslan and Belief were just, we did a song together actually with them, so they were in a similar space. But nobody else would show us love. But in behind the scenes, they'd be like, yo man, y'all dope, y'all. I'd be like, I just want to punch you in your face right now. So it was just, and then to your point, man, like years later, folks come to you like, yo man, you're ahead of your time, yada yada. I know people who to this day who be like, yo, I respect your work, Sho, but High Society, easily. Paperwork.
What? I don't know, and like I said, we'll just delete this if this is a question. Like, where did the negative pub come from? Because I'm like super far away, right? Yeah. I'm watching you from distance, but it was always like this. I don't know. It was just like the way that when you were brought up in conversations, if within the confines of interviews or whatever, however people would talk, it would almost be like somebody sent out a disclaimer to say like, oh, we don't know. He wants some funny stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's like looking real close to see what you're gonna say.
Absolutely.
And just dissected every little piece.
You gotta. We can lead us in. You got to understand what Reach Records was. Reach Records is, it's like the chosen child, and everybody. This is the problem with Christians in general. We always want a hero. Like, we want a hero that we can throw up there and say, this is like, yeah, the world got them, but we got them, and so it makes them feel better. Nobody's asked to be your golden calf, right? And so. And it's also a sense of like identity issues that you feel like you need someone to like validate you in your belief system, right? So Reach Records was that for a lot of folks. And in a good way, I can feel like I don't understand why, right? Because Cross Movement was that for me. But then I also realized at some point, like, this is unhealthy. Like, I gotta love Jesus for who Jesus is, not for like the people who put him on a pedestal, but it helps inform my faith in a way. Like, it helps shape my identity. And I think for folks, Reach Records was that, like, they helped shape their identity, because it was like, man, finally I got someone who, like, I got people I can look to for affirmation and how to live out this faith thing and not be ashamed. And when you leave that, when you're saying like, in a sense for them, they're saying like, yo, Sho he's ashamed of that, or he thinks he's better than that. And the only reason why he would leave is because if he's off in some ways. Right, and so that's the I got you. That's the concern that people would have, is like, I don't know. And so with anything that you put out, if it's not enough Jesus in it, if they hear me say something that's a little controversial, it's like, oh, I told you. Look at the symbol on that devil cover. It's a triangle. Blah blah blah. He talking about oh, he talking about blacks. He pro-black. It's not Jesus anymore. I can't remember some of the stuff, bro.
If you would have known that it would have blew over like it has, and people celebrated it, all the stuff that you've done back during that time, would you have just waited and just put some fluff stuff out?
No,
and then
still would have done it.
You did it.
The only thing I would have done differently is I would have managed some of the relationships I had with people better. I wasn't wise enough in managing those relationships, leveraging those relationships for not only for my benefit, but for their benefit as well. I was bitter. I was just like, I don't care. Like not only just friends, but like institutions, churches, the industry. It was just like, I didn't care. I was like, I'll burn everything. And that's not wise. I think anybody who's listening to this, no matter what kind of relationship you're in, if it's corporate, marriage, friendship, like if you're thinking about leaving, just think about leveraging, like leaving the relationship in the best possible manner that you can, because you're always gonna need people. This whole idea that you can do stuff on your own, it's impossible. Nobody gets anywhere on their own. Like you always need relationships, and you want to be able to maintain healthy relationships with people. And so I will say I'll definitely do the same thing, because that's who I am. Like I have to be me. And I was dying, bro. Like it was painful. It was a painful experience to make music and to continue to go in spaces and to not feel like I was liberated. You know what I mean? And so therefore I would do it again. I would just leverage relationships better and plot out my exit better as well. Yeah, because one of the things I didn't realize is like you need a team. So I'm like getting these bookings still, but I ain't had nobody to manage that no more because the label was doing that for me. So you have all this other stuff that I didn't think through, I didn't process through. Yeah. And so you need a team, and I just left on some like, I'm gonna make it. And it was cool for like a year, and then after that year, it was like 2-year period where I was struggling. Wow. I was like, yo, Lord, please send a check in the mail.
Well, I mean, I know that we could talk for forever, and since you're not officially an Oldhead, then you're gonna end up having to come back when we, I guess, get into a nice, beautiful studio with our logo and stuff on the wall like we seen today.
Hey, bro, it's coming, man.
Yeah,
look,
man.
Track Stars today just kind of made a brother realize what we could be.
Yeah.
But I don't even think. I mean, we just started having recorded conversations that we would normally have.
Yeah, that's all this is. That's just dope.
Also understanding that was a void in this particular subgenre.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And we just kind of wanted to be able to tackle some of these issues and talk to people. But before we get up out of here, I do want you to speak on, if you would like to speak on it, what's coming up. Is there anything that you feel like people need to look out for? In the future, whether it's your music, whether it's your nonprofit, or anything that you got going on that you feel like, because even though our, platform may be a little bit smaller, there may be some people who aren't really familiar with who you are that may be listening.
Yeah. So there's two things that I will say that I'm willing to talk about. One is I am in the process. So the good thing about being an older head, becoming an old head, is that you'll get to a point in your life where you realize like you can't, hip hop as it used to be can't be the only means of your of support. I can't just live off of just writing songs and traveling, and like that's not gonna happen. So how can I use my talents and my skills in other forms? And so I've been doing that, and one thing that I'm willing to share is I wrote a musical last year that has gotten a little bit of attention specifically in Memphis, but now we're going to take it on the road a couple places. It's based off the sanitation workers strike in 1968. You didn't know about this?
No, I didn't know about you writing a play and having all of this type of.
Yeah, so we wrote a play. The opening shows were during the MLK 50 celebration in Memphis, and so we had 3 shows. It was amazing, bro. It was sold out, and so now we're gonna do it in a couple cities in 2019. And so I'm excited about that.
Are you acting in it?
Yeah, I'm acting in it. I probably won't. The goal is for this thing to go to Broadway overly. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we're a long way from that, but I probably, once it gets to the place where it's like fully developed, I probably won't act in it. I'll just be the writer.
Oh, okay.
But right now I am acting. Only because I can't sing. If I could sing, I would probably act.
I've seen you act before.
No, I love acting.
Yeah,
I'm 100% confident in my acting skills, and I'm rapping as well. So I just can't sing, and I think the role that I play eventually is gonna need a singer.
What
too.
about the time you played that Nigerian?
First of all, I was Kenyan, dude. Get it right. I was a Kenyan, and they had me all up in some. It was a wrong. So I was dressed up as a Ghanaian, playing a Kenyan.
Yeah.
It was. That's what happens when white people write characters for Africans. They just grab anything. It's like, you know what? Just wear this. This is what they wear, right? Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that movie. So yes, I'm 100% confident in my acting, Kevin.
I am too, man. You can act.
So that's something I'm doing. Another thing, you mentioned my nonprofit. So right now, just in short, I am trying to start basically an academy for creatives here in Atlanta.
Okay, that's good.
Not just kids, but an ecosystem where people learn together, work together, and create together. And
man.
I'm excited about that. That's probably going to be something that I'm wanting to establish until the day I die.
That's awesome.
So I'm truly excited about that. And right now the site is down. I mean, not down, but it's being remodeled. But it's called terminuscollective.org. That's the site. Is Terminus Collective. Yeah. So that is me, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're one of the few artists that I could see being 80 still doing it. Like, seriously, I can see you up there on a stool. With one thing, you have your little scarf wrapped around that mug. Your little band, man.
Yo, let me say this though. I'm gonna encourage you guys because you've been doing good. I'll say this, man. I think this podcast, eventually, I think it's gonna be huge because one, we need to be able to tell our own stories, and the platform that you're creating to not only talk to artists is dope, one, but to talk to artists who I think are underappreciated is even more significant to me, because I think there is, as generations grow older and new folks come in, they forget like the legacies that were left behind and how people impacted. To your point, like you named some artists that I'm not even familiar with, and I thought I knew it all, right? And I think we need to know about these folks, terrible or not.
Hey, man.
But thank y'all for having me, man.
Man, we really appreciate you, Sho. Thank you for coming, man.
Thanks for coming, homeboy.
Thanks for listening to Oldheadz podcast, where legends get their airplay. Follow us on Facebook and send us comments on your favorite artists.